would say I'm like borderline like third generation like ATV motorsports kind of guy.
Okay.
Like they were all kind of dune shooters that were built like powder coated, super nice. Like fit and finish was key.
Yeah.
And it was basically, hey, let's build this 450 or this Banshee or whatever to go shoot
Straight
up.
line. Yeah.
So like they were building stuff. They weren't building long travel like wide stuff. So like I never was really exposed to that stuff. So like my only real exposure to the motocross stuff was through Huevos or through going to like the Supercross in town, playing Sudoku on my phone. And I'm sitting there, doing whatever, and all of a sudden I hear Keaton just like cow, and I look up and there's just 800 pounds of cheeseburger in front of our hood, and we smashed it. Terriers down when we get back. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Ended up going up there and kind of going through that whole process. That was the first time I'd ever actually
did a bike
gone through framed it and then everything up, and I was like, oh man, this is way more expensive than I thought it was, just because all those little bearings and seals.
It's not cheap at all.
So I was able to start getting a little bit more seat time in, and I noticed like there was definitely a big change, and it's like, oh man, like this is actually much more enjoyable when I can like actually practice and like kind of ride.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Leon with Four Wheel Frenzy, and we are here again with a new episode and a new guest. And Jimmy Brakebill is my guest this week. Jimmy, how are you doing?
Not too shabby.
Good. For anybody that doesn't know, Jimmy, who are you?
So, I would say I don't know. I race ATV Nationals in one of the slow guy classes. I would say I've had some sort of an interaction with most people there, like in some way, shape, or form. Like a lot of times, oh, I know that guy, like Jimmy. You know. But no, I've been racing nationals since 2020. I had a kind of a turd LTR Suzuki, and I was really wanting to race it. Had really no idea what I was getting into. Bike shop that was doing all the work for me then was the guy he wasn't super into quads, wasn't super quad friendly, or just didn't have like a lot of the know-how when you're trying to build some of these things, machines that are at this point like platforms that are 20 years old,
right? Literally 20 years old on an LTR,
right?
Yeah.
So I was having, I think it was a stator issue or something, but it was basically like it would get hot and then it would start just like sputtering and cutting out.
Okay.
I couldn't figure it out. Like I had very little mechanical like ability at that point. Like,
and this was when was this?
See, I got it when I was probably a junior in high school.
Okay, so this is a little while back.
Yeah, so
okay. Well, and let's come back to that here in a second. Because I just want to know who you are first of all. But you're Jimmy. You are racing the ATVMX Nationals though.
Correct.
And what class exactly are you racing in?
So I race Production C, which I think is gone now.
All the production class in 2026. Production A, B, and C are gone. So you have your Open Cs and your Open C and 450C.
Mm-hmm. So excuse me. So I had Production C, and then I would kind of flip-flop back and forth between like 450 and Open. Okay. And then I also made the horrible mistake of joining or jumping into 25 plus.
Okay.
And that was miserable for everyone involved, including myself.
Yeah, that was in 2025 you did that?
I did that, so it would have been 24 and 25.
Okay.
So the first year I did it, I was on a completely new build that I had no time to kind of ride, shake, like test and tune, like none of that time to really like figure out like, hey, like I'm way off on how I set it up.
Yeah.
And that was at Etchikani.
Okay.
Which I think can be like the rougher the sand, sometimes I think can like really like exploit like hey, this thing sucks,
Yeah.
And it wasn't like anything that anyone turning wrenches did wrong. It was just like I had never had like a long travel setup before. Okay. So I was just basically kind of going off of like what I was hearing,
Okay.
from every which direction, which was not a good idea. So I showed up to Echecani and I was determined to race 25 plus because I thought it would be fun.
Yeah.
And I think the only person there running 25 plus that weekend was Music.
Okay.
And I think Perkins might have been in there too. He might have been racing pro sport at that point.
Because if it was 24, yeah, Perkins was not back yet. If it was 25, that was when Perkins did the full series.
Yeah, I raced a little bit in 25 too.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean that class there, it's so did you do full seasons in 25 plus?
24 I for sure did.
Okay.
And then I was discouraged a little bit in 25. I was like, maybe this is kind of a waste of money or a waste of time.
Yeah, and I mean that class, it is your kind of initial vet class in a way, but 25 plus it's a very fast class.
Yeah.
It's
obnoxious.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're currently running in 2026. Are you going to run the 2C classes?
Yeah, I'll just run
left?
2C classes and then that's probably it. Unless I have like a weird inkling to go jump into 25 plus for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, you could always do it and dabble with it, and if it helps you get a little bit faster, it helps you get a little bit faster. If you just feel terrible and you're terrified in that class, and don't do it. So.
It was I think Ironman. I think we were racing 25 plus together, and I remember
I quit racing. I quit racing 20.
It wouldn't have been Yeah,
because my last year of 25 plus was 2023.
Yeah, so I just missed but
yeah.
I remember being on the line, and it was for sure 24, but I was on the line, and it was Cody Jansen, myself, Keaton Sturck, Brett Music, and then there's Blake Umbaugh.
Okay,
like so, all guys that
ran
fast.
At least pro-am at one point. Yeah,
and I'm like, here I am, just a landmine to these people. And I remember being at staging. I was like, oh man, like I need to make sure like they're all aware. Like I'm not doing like the big triple in the middle. Yeah. Like you're going to come back around on me. Yeah. Like please be aware. I'm not going as fast. And then kind of after that, I was like, all right, this is dumb. I'm not gonna keep wasting my money on especially at tracks where like there are huge big jumps there that I'm like I know I'm not going to do them, and I know everyone else is, and it's just going to cause issues for 99% of the people racing that class.
Well, I mean, once you get to 30 and you run 30 plus, then it's a little bit different. Cause you got some people like in the A class, some people hit everything, some people don't. So you got to mix everything. But you started talking about your LTR and everything like that when you were younger, but was the LTR your first ATV?
Not technically.
Okay. So how did you initially get into riding ATVs?
So I would say I'm like borderline like third generation like ATV motorsports kind of guy.
Okay.
So on my dad's side of the family, like my grandpa I think he had a couple like ATC like 350Xs or something like that.
Yeah.
The old school. And then on my mom's side, they had like her dad got a like the first LT 230 that like rolled off the line out there.
Yeah.
And he had an LT. He actually still has the same one to this day. He's got an LT 500.
Oh, Quadzilla. Okay.
Yes, and I've that one is once I can get it off like my uncle's hands, like it'll be in my garage for me to look at, not ride. Yeah. And then my dad had a couple of quads when I was growing up. But like we lived super, super close to like my mom's side of the family.
Yeah.
So they had her dad, my grandpa on that side he was a diesel tech or diesel mechanic for Boeing for a long time. Okay. So he had like every tool under the sun you could ever think of. Yeah. Right. Like it just walls, and he knew where everything was. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they had this big old, like tube TV. Right. That, you turn on and start warming up. It'd start buzzing, it sounded like it was going to give you radiation poisoning. Yeah. But they would have like the old Wavos VHS tapes and whatnot, like just on repeat. One would finish, they'd pull it out, throw a new one in, start it, and then they'd keep working on whatever they were working on in the garage.
Yeah.
So just like we would go up there all the time, like for barbecues, dinners, whatever. And like you'd go there, you know, girls would go inside the house, and then everyone else would go out to the shop and, you know, hang out, do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So me being super young at that point, like I would just basically plant myself in front of this old tube TV and watch these old, like, you know, Wavos videos.
Yeah.
And like, you know, just it on repeat all the time. And it would just like, it ingrained all of these, you know, certain scenes or whatever from these old movies just into my brain. So it was like, that was really all I ever saw.
Okay.
And then, you know, we'd Seattle Supercross every year because I grew up out west.
Okay.
And so like out there, like ATV motocross, GNCC racing like isn't a thing.
Yeah.
And I actually think that the Washougal round of works racing was gone at that point in time.
Okay.
Which would have been
because it went away and now it's back this year.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I think that would have been the closest round to where we were at, which
probably,
even then Washougal was still, I think, like 3 hours or so from us.
Yeah.
So it's still like not close.
Yeah.
And then like there's just not a huge ATV racing scene. So like them having, you know, quads, whatnot, like they were all kind of dune shooters that were built like powder coated, super nice, like, you know, fit and finish was key.
Yeah.
And it was basically, hey, let's, you know, build this 450 or this Banshee or whatever to go shoot
straight
up
line.
yeah. So like, you know, they were building stuff, they weren't building, you know, long travel, like wide stuff. So like I never was really exposed to that stuff. So like my only real exposure to the motocross stuff was through Wavos or through going to like, you know, the Supercross in town.
Yeah.
Or, you know, watching Supercross on Speed TV or the old Terra Firma videos and whatnot. Like that was like just all I was watching when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So they had that. My grandparents got me a I want to say it was like an XR50 when I was like super, super little.
Yeah.
And where their house was, if you kind of walked out, went to the left, there was like a little walkway. Okay. There was a little fence, right? Mm-hmm. It was like a little S-shaped fence to keep people out or whatever.
Okay.
Just why, I don't know. But they would take this little XR50 or CR50 or what it was, and my uncles and dad or whatever would walk over with this 50 and they'd take the 50 and set it over the fence.
Okay.
And then we'd walk into like this little big great field on a, you know, Saturday or a Sunday where no one's at this elementary school. And they would just have, you know, burning laps into this field. And I was, you know, riding it and they'd, you know, just start kicking up a gear because I was, you know, wasn't able to shift on my own at that point in time. So like they'd keep, you know, bumping up a gear. Mm-hmm. And eventually I'm like, you know, doing these figure eights or something.
Okay.
Right. In this big field, got chain link all the way around it. And the story goes, I was kind of like just trying to stretch the throttle cable, you know, doing all 12 mile an hour.
Yeah.
And I start like kind of pushing my way out towards this chain link fence. And eventually the chain link fence ends up grabbing the end of the bar.
Yeah.
Right. And just pins me right into a post.
Yeah.
So I like pinched my my elbow into my rib cage.
Okay.
And just buckled my arm.
Ugh.
Pinned the forks back to like the actual case.
Yeah.
Just destroyed my arm and bike too. And they that got sold.
Yeah.
And then it was a couple years later, I got like I want to say it was like a mid 90s maybe blaster.
Okay.
But it was like the older style plastics that had the handlebar mounted on the handlebar or the light mounted on the handlebars.
So essentially like a 88 to 02 blaster.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Had that. I only got to, I think I might have rode that thing like once or twice.
Okay.
And then that thing got sold.
Okay. And how old are you? Because I mean, blaster is, you know, going from a 50 to a blaster.
There was a good chunk of time where I had a bicycle and that was it, right?
Okay.
So you're watching these videos and you're like, man, I want to go, because they would go every year. They'd go down to Oregon, down and go ride sand dunes every year. And that was like, you know, the guys' trip every year. Like, you know, my dad, uncles, grandpa, like all of them.
Okay.
They go down to Oregon, ride the dunes. So, and when I had the 50, I was like, oh, sweet, I can go.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, hey, you actually don't have enough wheel to go down here. So that got split, and then I got the blaster, and then ended up having a bunch of problems with it. Wasn't
Okay.
able to ride it, and it got sold for whatever reason. And that was a few years later, like I said.
Yeah.
And I remember like thinking when I got that, I'm like, sweet, I can finally go on these riding trips. Like I can finally go.
Yeah.
And then that didn't work out. And then the next year, my dad's buddy had like a Polaris like Scrambler 200 or something. Like it had like
Okay.
like a stick shift on it, right?
Okay.
Like a utility quad would.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a CVT, I guess.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right. He's like, hey, like, your son can come down here and ride this, like, if he wants, right? So we go down there, and I'm ecstatic,
Yeah.
right? First time I get to go down, go to like the dude strip to the dunes.
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
My dad had he had like an 01 Cannondale, like Moto 440, like
Okay.
full Walsh quad. Like they had like the super nice all-in shocks on it, like Walsh components everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, had cool carbon fiber bits. Like thing was trick. We go down there, and I'm just wanting to burn every single drop of gas that is in that camp through this Polaris.
Yeah.
Like, let's go out. And everyone else there is like, hey, like we need to eat.
Right.
Right. So we go out, and I come back. My dad's like, hey, like me and a couple of guys are gonna go out on, we're gonna go have fun and do some riding, and then when I get back, like we can go out again.
Right.
So we're sitting there at this, little campfire or whatever, and eating PB&Js, talking about whatever. And I see one of my dad's buddies come hauling in, right? Just locks it up, and he's grabs a can of gas and throws it on the back. And I'm like, what's he's like, oh, your dad ran out of gas. I'm like, all right, whatever, that's weird.
Yeah.
Goes off, and then he comes hauling back again, hops on a side-by-side, and throws a ratchet strap in the back, and goes off. I'm like, I don't think he was out of gas.
Yeah.
He comes back, and he's just like hanging his head, right? And I'm like, oh man. But this Cannondale he had basically just grenaded itself.
Yeah.
Shocker. Grenaded itself, and at that point, Cannondale had already liquidated to ATK, I believe.
Yeah, they sold to ATK.
And then I think ATK at that point had basically gotten rid of a lot of their stuff too. I think.
Yeah, I mean it's
basically like parts we were able to find were like used pistons on eBay.
Yeah, because there's a time, like a chunk of time where there just wasn't really anything available unless you were like a guy that knew a guy.
Right.
And I mean now there's people that are supporting them again, but yeah, I mean
you're basically
you had that
SOL.
time where the stuff wasn't available,
right,
and your enthusiasts weren't out there like they are now.
Right. So first trip I'm out there, like he just blows this thing to smithereens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's awesome. So I guess we're not going next year. And then like 08 hit.
Yeah.
So that kind of put a huge damper on everything.
Right.
And then, that thing basically sat in pieces, and it's actually, I was trying to get Bob Miller to build a hybrid or help me build a hybrid with that frame because it was super weird looking and cool. But
yeah, they're wild, that's for sure.
he was kind of halfway interested. I know I'd poked Keaton about it a couple of times trying to get him to do it, and he was like, I don't want any part of trying to fabricate on that.
Yeah.
So no,
so it's still around.
So actually, some guy out in like Pennsylvania who's like a Cannondale collector, for some reason was like, I am buying this thing. And because it was a titled frame.
Yeah.
And like that was just like a not existent thing
ever,
I guess.
I mean, there's a lot of places that don't do titles for off-road machine, like ATVs and dirt bikes and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's the Cannondale people that are out there now, like they're dedicated.
Yes.
I mean,
they love them.
Yeah. I mean, there's Ken Deal at Black Widow ATV that, I mean, he refurbishes the engines for you. Like he's the guy. If you need Cannondale stuff nowadays, that is the dude to talk to. So he basically single-handedly is keeping all of these things going.
So that thing, like I said, got blown up. It sat in my garage for a while before I ended up was able to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And then because I moved out to like Columbus, Ohio area when I was 13, maybe 14.
Yeah. So you moved halfway across the country.
Right. So I know no one when I move out here.
Right.
So I'm on YouTube just watching like these basically like old Daytona races or, Rip It Up's films videos at that point.
Yeah.
And like, that's the only kind of relief I'm getting. So I kind of keep pestering my mom, like, hey, like, I really want to buy one. Like, I don't have money. Like, what can I do kind of thing.
Yeah.
And eventually it came along to like, hey, like, you pay for half or, you put up half, I'll put up the other half.
Okay.
And I think I might have gotten like $1,500 or like $1,200 or something like that put together. I'm like, I got this. Like, let's put together. Like, I'm going to have me a pretty sturdy steed.
Yeah.
Not the case.
Yeah.
I ended up getting this LTR, and it was just, LTRs when they're new, I think, had their fair share of problems.
I mean, LTRs, they're a strong machine, and they were great. But yeah, over the years, time kind of showed where they fell short on the R&D on those.
Right.
And obviously nowadays there's fixes for them. But what year do you think this was?
This would have been 2015, 2016 maybe.
Okay. So it was kind of when the sport quad market was slowing down a bit, but it wasn't
Right.
it wasn't in
dead.
this. Yeah, it wasn't
like
in this,
I could still go to a dealership and see like, brand like a Can-Am if I wanted to.
You could still get a Can-Am about then, and obviously the Yamaha. Maybe there's a holdover Honda or something like that.
There's still some stuff like on the dealership to where like there's still a presence.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting this LTR, and I also was, like I said, 16, so I didn't 15, 16. So I didn't have a truck, so I didn't have a way to like go anywhere and go ride it. I lived in like basically a neighborhood.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And my buddy, he lived like really close to a bunch of farmland.
Okay.
So he would basically like, hey, like, let's go out and just go riding around or whatever, go digging around.
Yeah.
And he would come over. I'd throw my quad in the back of his truck. We'd drive back over to his house, unload, and then go, mess around, get done, reload it up, come back, unload. Your
mom didn't drive a minivan back then?
No. I don't think she would be willing to own a minivan or drive one.
Hey, once you own one, they're amazing.
It's a convenience factor.
It's great. I mean, you've seen my quad in the back of a minivan, correct?
The first time I saw one was Kazmierek. He showed up at the Sunset, and I was like, "What the hell is he doing driving this?"
Yeah,
thing?
it works
and
great.
he popped the deal open. He had the handlebar clamp undone, and he had the bars rolled back so we could. Roll
if you're running a taller stem, so I found I think it's the 09 to like the last gen caravans and town and countries. Those work perfect for a YFZ. Like especially if you're running a stock or similar to stock height stem, roll right in. The bars and brake master cylinder in that, they do hit on the top of the door frame, but they go right in. If it's a motocross with quad, it's a perfect fit. So like the tires rub on each side. I mean, I would still at least put it in gear, or I would always tie it down. But I mean, in 2021, I did almost the entire season with my quad in the back of a minivan. It's way cheaper than driving my diesel truck around.
It's if you do what it takes.
Yeah, exactly. So I just didn't know, like, your mom, like, clearly you weren't innovative enough, or you didn't even have a minivan.
I would say innovation on my end was probably a big factor.
Yeah.
But I bought a truck like, I don't know, I was 18. But as soon as I had the truck, I'm like, all right,
it's go time.
It's time to go. Like, we're going to the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went to, there's a local race down at Chillytown, which is Scott Plessinger's, one of Scott Plessinger's tracks.
Yep. One of them. Yep.
Went down there. I remember I lined up because if I remember right, I think they only had like a quad, like ATV open.
Okay.
And that was
they just were
like,
allowing quads, and that's it. Yeah.
So I remember I signed up, and it was myself, Blake on ball.
Okay.
I think Michelle Jenkins was there.
Okay.
And a couple other people, like, whatever. But
yeah.
That was the first time I'd ever had it on a motocross track.
Okay.
Let alone like race it. And
outside the field, essentially.
Right.
Yeah.
It was pretty horrific on my end. Found out that it doesn't run. Mine wasn't as reliable, and there was probably some loose wires here and there, and
Probably had a half plugged up swirl filter.
Oh yeah, well no, I just got rid of the swirl filter.
Oh, you deleted it?
Yeah,
Okay.
bought like one of those little brass T fittings.
Yeah.
And got rid of it. Went there, had just a pretty terrible time.
Okay.
Got done, was like, man, that was pretty awesome. Like, let's try and do that again.
Yeah.
And then I went to Briarcliff, I think that year.
Okay.
And was riding, and it was like, this thing was not looked over. Like it was, I probably like really shouldn't have been. It would have gotten caught at Tech.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
It was an entry level quad, and obviously you didn't know what you were looking at.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Just,
I didn't know what I was looking at. Like there's no better way to put it.
Right. Somebody was happy that they got the money they got.
Right. That's a good way of putting it. So I go there, and this thing had like a super blown like rear shock. Like it was just nothing but spring in the rear.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know any better. So I remember it was morning practice, second time I'd ever been out on a track at Briarcliff. And the layout then was like backwards to what it was last year almost.
Okay.
It was a super, I would assume it was
probably about one of like the original.
I would think it was probably close to like the first layout they had when they had that national like 2014.
2014
there.
It probably would have been real similar layout to that.
Fast, like it was a cool layout from what I remember.
Yep.
But I remember I dipped into practice and I was behind Blake on ball.
Okay.
But I'm like, all right, like I know this guy's fast. I know he knows what he's doing. Like I'll just follow him. And it was like almost like a double section into another like kind of larger tabletop if I remember right.
Okay. Yeah.
But I basically saw him going over, and I was like, oh man, I'm exhausted at this point. I'm like 3/4 of a lap in, winded, and I'm just like, well, I'm gonna sit right here because I'm trying to rest.
Yeah.
And I'm just like as fast as this little turtle go, and I come up through seat bounce, something with no rear shock, essentially just spring,
right,
and it just right over the front, and then it's a whole shebang from there.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, man, maybe I'm just not made for this type of stuff, which is fine. And then I ended up getting rid of it and bought a brand new special edition Yamaha.
Okay.
And like I said, at that point, like I still have really no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, I think right before I bought that Yamaha, I went to Cody Jansen used to do like riding schools like periodically around Ohio. Like,
Okay.
he'd do one up at Perchetta Creek every year.
Okay.
And I just like I enjoyed going to those because I'm like, man, this is cool.
You didn't know any better.
Yeah, I got to learn something.
Yeah.
Right. So I go up there and as nice of a way as they were able to put like, hey, like maybe buy something different.
Yeah.
And I went and bought the YFZ. Went and did it again the next year, and then. He was like, we do nationals, use AMA. I think he might have been still running pro class at that point in time. If it was like 2019, 2020.
No, he wasn't running pro class at that time. He would have been, I think that was about the time that he went down to 25 plus.
Either way,
in that area, yeah.
It was, like that was the first time I'd ever seen someone that was like, has like true like national speed.
Okay.
Like running, or like high level national speed.
Yeah.
I was just like blown away. Like because I got to race with Michelle Jenkins like that one time, but like I said, I was on the line, so I never saw her.
Yeah.
So he's like, kind of walks you through it, and a lot of times you go to those and like they do a really good job at like making you feel good, right? And you're like, it's like going to like a personal trainer for the first time. You're like, man, I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
I was born for this.
Right.
So I think it was like end of 2019. I went there with my Yamaha. COVID happens. I get laid off. And then I'm like, well, I have all kinds of time to myself. Like, let's go do these nationals. So I go down to Georgia, Aonia Pass.
Yep.
In 2020.
Yep.
And this is now the third time I had been on a motocross track. That was pretty also horrific.
Yeah.
Went down there. Luckily, there was not enough people to like where you had to like kind of qualify into Sunday.
Yeah.
I went about as bad as it could. And then I went to me and my buddy went to Muddy Creek.
Okay.
Yep. I think that would have been the next
that
round.
That was the next round. Yep.
So we went to Muddy Creek. I actually had a pretty good time there.
Okay.
I had a pretty good little wreck on Sunday. And at that point, because I didn't know any better, I just thought you signed up for one class.
Oh.
So I would go there, sign up for the one, and then that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that like a lot of people were doing two or three, sometimes 4 classes, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
So I had basically the one class, and that was it. Wrecked on Saturday pretty good, and I should have gone to the LCQ.
Okay.
But because like me and my buddy are like here, we don't know anyone else.
You're still
like,
fresh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know that the Conci, or that there even was a Conci.
Right. Right.
We didn't know that there was one at the end of the day.
Okay.
And so morning time comes, I go up there to check race order, and I'm like, that's weird. The number of people, like, I asked the lady, I was like, hey, like, why is there only one, production C class or whatever? Yeah. She was like, oh, well, what do you mean? That's just, there's one. Like, if you didn't make it in yesterday, you're SOL. And I'm like, what do you mean, And then I found out, like, oh, man, while we were eating Mexican food yesterday,
you could have been trying to qualify.
Should have been here.
Yeah.
So we watched, I think, because that was when Pro Stock was going on.
Yep.
So we watched Pro Stock. That was pretty awesome. Yeah. I think Pro Mod was still going on.
Yeah, that was too. Pro Mod as well.
So that was cool. We got to watch those 2 classes, and then we basically loaded up and left.
Yeah.
But while we were there, I was walking by somewhere, and I saw Mike Beeland had it. He had a 250R there sitting there. I was like, man, this thing is awesome. Like, and he was like, like it's for sale. Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, I know a guy that's actually, the last quad he had blew up, and I was like, this thing's probably right up his alley.
Yeah.
So like, called my dad and I'm like, hey, like I found this an LTR or a Suzuki down here, TRX down here. Like this is like you need to buy it. Like this thing's sick.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, how am I gonna buy it? Because he still lived out in the state of Washington at this point.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, all right. I was like, we'll figure that part out later.
Yeah.
He's like, all right. So I talked to Mike. I'm like, hey, I got a guy that my dad wants to buy it. Like, what can he's like, all right, well, I'll tell you what. He's like, because I didn't have a trailer either. Okay. I was showing up to these races just in a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And I was either sleeping.
Now you had your Chevy at this time, correct?
Yeah. I had a silver half ton that was an extended cab.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that was before the Duramax either.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if I was showing up there by myself, I was sleeping in the back, like extended cab portion of the truck.
Man. Okay.
Which I'm not a short guy, but I'm not like, Chad tall or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still like, it was rough.
You're a normal sized guy.
That was awful.
Yeah, I bet.
But I didn't have a trailer or anything. Oh. And I was like, hey, like, I don't know, like I basically need to drive home, drop my stuff off, and then go up and pick this up. And he's like, all right, like, it works. So I went up there and I talked to Autumn while we were there, and she was like, hey, like, we're going up to Redbud for a D14 race.
Okay. Like,
you should come out and race there. Kind of if you're gonna go to the Redbud National. And Redbud was actually like I think the only like bike national I'd ever been to. So I was like, oh man, like Redbud was like on a pedestal for me.
Right.
So I was like, oh, absolutely. So I go up there for this D14 race, and it was like Vietnam going through it. Like, because like the bikes were there. Yeah. They went first.
Yep.
And then like the quads, like because there was 2 quad, or they had A, B, and then they had C, but they had A, B drop together and then C drop.
Yep.
Well, in the A, B drop, someone got tangled up or whatever in front of us, and like they were sitting there trying to get it kicked back over. So like we're sitting there for an eternity, like waiting for the gate to drop back down again. And at one point, I'm like, okay, well, we've been sitting here long enough. Like they're not going to just send us out right in front of the wolves. Like we're good. And then light goes on like at the end of the start, and I'm like, oh, like, here we go. Because it was Geyer, Blair Miller, Logan Stanfield. I'm trying to think of like who else, like some of the other fast guys that would have been there racing in that class then. Gage Beebe would have been in there. Yeah. But I remember like there's a picture somewhere like Stanfield coming through that turn after like that hairpin after the start, the first corner.
Yep.
I was kind of just putting along the outside, and that line that kind of would hug the inside ended up meeting there.
Oh, yeah.
And him and I think him, Blair, and Geyer were like all on top of each other.
Yeah.
And I just like drive-by victim, like just off I go. So we go up there. I was like, man, this is horrendous. Like, this is awful.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why anyone would ever want to come here.
Yeah.
And then like kind of on the way back, I'm like, yeah, man, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I like that.
Like it sucked, but it was still a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think some of the sand tracks are a little bit more fun to ride just because like it's not like blue groove concrete where it's like here's the line, like right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we go up there. I go pick up Autumn's dad's quad, and then my dad drives out from the state of Washington to go up to the Redbud National.
Okay.
And if I remember right, it was like 145 degrees outside.
Oh yeah,
that year.
usually. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
And like we're all outside, like cannot get it because we don't have a motorhome, like camper or nothing. Like we are just outside, and you cannot get away from the heat. Like, I had like I think a set of gear at that point in time, and it was all black, black boot. Like it was brutal.
Yeah.
So we go up there. He picks up his machine, and it was a good time. But after Redbud, I ended up getting called back to work. I didn't have the money or the time to go racing because I just didn't.
Right.
So then the next year, like at this point, I'm like completely hooked. And then because I'd ran into Gage Beebe at that D14 race.
Yes.
And that's kind of where we initially kind of got introduced to each other.
Okay. Yep.
And then Autumn had been we had chit-chatted, and she was like, hey, I'm going to Georgia. Like, I'm meeting my friends down there. She's like, I don't have a way to get there. Like, or, if I ride with you, like, can I go down there? Because I think she had like a little F-150 that would not have made it down there.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, absolutely. And we go down there, and we met, she ended up staying with Keaton Sturck and Gage and all them in that big Totodrome they had.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, like, cool, sweet. And like, I'm going to go cozy up in the back seat of this truck. And I think Keaton was like no, like, come on, get in here, dude.
Yeah. And I was out years ago. I was always curious about that too, because, like the 3.8 crew, like Gage and Keaton, and there'd always be a few other people that kind of come and go. And then there's you. I'm like, oh, cool, like another Iowa dude, whatever.
All the time.
And I'm like, I think at one point I see like he has an Ohio plate on his truck. Like,
what is going on?
How the hell does this work? Like Keaton's always got this crew of Iowans, and now he's got some Ohio kid hanging out too
all the time.
And I wasn't sure how that ever like formed. Like all of a sudden you got adopted by the Keaton crew.
Pretty much. Like, so at the Redbud National, I was having I didn't have a breather box on my quad.
Yep.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And someone was like, hey, like go find Keaton and buy a breather box off of him.
Okay.
And I'm kind of like,
who?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm basically walking around like a lost dog. Like, hey, have you seen Keaton?
Yeah.
And I'm like, over there.
Yeah.
And I ended up buying one from him, and he's like, hey, like, I asked him, I was like, are these like pretty tough to put on? Like, because at this point, zero mechanical.
Yeah, you didn't know.
He's like, they're not that. And like, I think he could see like the visual confusion on my face when he was like kind of explaining it, and he was like, here, I'll throw this on real quick for you.
Yeah.
Throws it on, and then when we ended up seeing each other again in Georgia, he was like,
oh,
just
breather guy.
Come on.
Yeah.
Fine. You shouldn't murder us. So.
Yeah.
We go in there, and I had like Georgia. I still do have a soft spot for Annie Pass. I do like that track a lot.
Okay.
But it's kind of where we initially like really kind of kicked off a lot of them, and then I basically went to every round. I think I ended up going like 5 rounds that year.
Okay.
Just enough to basically not have a drop, or but still get scored.
Yeah.
Went to all of them.
Like you did the bare minimum anyways.
Yeah. Which for me at that time, it felt like the absolute maximum, which I mean, still does.
Yeah.
And then it was just, I don't know. I just kind of kept pestering them. I think part of it was like, oh my God, buddies with this guy. I feel like he's not going to screw me over. Like, I'll keep buying his parts.
Yeah.
And then eventually, he, whether I'm calling him for something, a question about something or whatever,
Yeah.
and then it eventually start. Now he I'm sure he avoids my phone calls, but if I'll call him or something, and a lot of times I'm like, hey, have you ever thought about making this? And like most of the time it's no, like this is. I've got, hey, customer's walking, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, yeah.
And then sometimes it's like, oh, that's actually a pretty good idea, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I try to go out there like once or twice a year if I can, just because it's cool going out there and going out to that track out there.
He's got exactly. Out there. He's got a nice facility going on.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, it's a very like family atmosphere over there, which is nice. Yeah. Does kind of suck when you're like, hey, like they're not going. You're like, oh, I have no one else to hit with. You're like, it's kind of blows.
Yeah.
But no, it's after I kind of got involved with those guys or got in touch with them, like it was kind of just personalities meshed.
Yeah.
And then for some reason though, like I always heard like speed rubs off, and I was super tight with them and. And like Andrea, when she was like still like winning a ton of like WMX titles,
like
she
was still battling for WMX Championship.
For whatever reason, I like that speed on anyone ever rubbed off on me, and I'm just like, man, like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
But yeah, we got pretty cool, and then I think 22 maybe. We they were talking about going out to Oklahoma, like Little Sahara, go out and ride in the sand dunes.
Yeah. And
that, like, my ears kind of perked up at this point because I'm like, oh man, like my parents used to go do this or whatever. Like, this sounds awesome. Like, let's go. So I go out there and I met them. It was Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
Excuse me. I met them for Thanksgiving weekend. I went up to BB's house. Like, I drove through the night Wednesday night because I was working second shift. I had like very limited time off.
Okay.
I got off Wednesday evening, 10 o'clock, drove from Columbus, Ohio to, Iowa.
Yeah.
Pretty miserable drive at
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So I drive through there, get to his house in the morning. I think I slept for a couple hours, woke up, and he's like, hey, we're going to Thanksgiving dinner. Like, let's go. And when I get up and we go to like his brother's house or something,
okay.
I'm just like completely out of it. Like just eating my sweet potatoes and rolls or whatever. And we get back, load up his trailer, and we go. Mm-hmm. We got to Little Sahara. That was a good time. I ended up having, I would say, like the biggest hit of the weekend.
Okay.
Super on accident.
Yeah.
We found there was a pretty good lip somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like kind of struggling to get like my rear tires where like everyone else's were.
Okay.
And I kind of coming back out like down through the bowl, and I asked Gage, I'm like, hey, like, how fast are you hitting that? He goes, 4th gear. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And I left. I didn't realize he was like chopping the throttle kind of halfway or like 3/4 of the way up or whatever.
Yeah. Usually it's why you say like 4th wide or 4th like half throttle.
I didn't get that
not
part.
Just 4th gear.
So I just bop, 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 and off we go.
Yeah.
And I was like up there for longer than I should have been.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh man, like this is going to end either really poorly or not as poorly.
Yeah.
Landed, and I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to do that again because I'm not going to push my luck too far.
Right.
No one had any issues. Like, no one got hurt really. Like,
okay.
I got the wind knocked out of me pretty much immediately because I was like, oh, I'm going to go kick a big rooster tail up like you see a lot of those guys do.
And all the videos.
Yeah, you go through, you kick it up, and all of a sudden I grabbed a bunch of side tracks, and it just, like, lawn darted me off the side. And sand, you don't, like, tumble. You just stop.
Yeah.
You're, like, just trying to find air.
Yeah.
No one got hurt. That was cool. And then on the way home, it's where we ended up having the infamous cow incident.
The cow hit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. So we were driving home. Mm-hmm. Keaton and Andrea are in the back chit-chatting, and I'm in the passenger seat. I'm not buckled up. Like, we're cruising. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just BSing about whatever, playing Sudoku on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, doing whatever, and all of a sudden I hear Keaton just like, cow, and I look up, and there's just 800 pounds of cheeseburger in front of our hood, and I'm like, fuck. We smashed it. I mean, this thing, it was all over the place.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I ended up, because I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, I like basically came off my seat and like headbutted the windshield.
Yeah.
And there's like, you can see in the picture somewhere, like there's just like a little head print like on the passenger side where I was at.
Yeah.
That was pretty miserable. Because I didn't have any time off of work, like any PTO left, right?
Okay,
And this is Sunday afternoon, right? Sunday evening, early evening. I'm like, oh man, like I need to basically make it to Ohio, like, or Tuesday or whatever, for by the time our long weekend was done.
Yeah.
So we ended up staying in like this little hotel. Gage's dad and his mom hopped in, I think, Andrea's truck.
Okay.
And then drove out to us, met us, grabbed the trailer with all the quads. And then we hightailed it back.
Yeah.
And mind you, like after we hit it, we we had 4 or 5 quads in this trailer. But like when we had everything loaded in, like because those paddles take up a little bit more space.
Right.
You didn't have a ton of room, like extra, like to close that gate. Like you're kind of like, that's good. So after we got done, we're like, hey, we should check inside the trailer. We open it up, and like there's 5 feet of room inside this trailer. I'm like, ooh, they got shifted a little bit. Like that's not great. So we, slept like rocks actually when we got to that hotel. His parents showed up. We drove back to Iowa. By the time we got back there, it was later, and then I had to basically hop in my truck immediately and start driving because I needed to be at work in the morning. Yeah. And then I stopped at like the I-80 truck stop, which was a huge mistake. I bought a Gladiator helmet and I think a sword. I was probably in there for a half hour or an hour and a half or so. Like I was way too long. Like I should be supervised. So I get back in my truck, start driving, get to work, and I'm just like, man, that was pretty awesome. Like, that was pretty cool. Yeah. And then I think we went back the next year too. Like it's a good time. Yeah. It's kind of cool, like, because I've been seeing more like pros start having like fun when they're riding. It seems like because like Lindquist went out to Glamis a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And then,
well, they've gone quite a few times over the years. It's just was never really documented like it has been lately.
I think it does make for like really good like clips when they go out there.
And, for sure. I mean,
a lot of times like you go out there and you see like because people don't ever see like people like that are capable of like riding a quad. Like, I'm not saying that I'm that person, but when you have Keaton, Gage, Andrea, like people that are really fast, a lot of times like they're like, oh man, like because we'd find a spot or whatever and start hitting it, and you'd kind of have like this like a small group of people just stop and start watching. They're like, oh yeah, I didn't know quads could do that. But so it's a good time. Yeah, and so because that was like 20. Was that 22 or 23 that happened? The
trip?
The cow would have been 22, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And then 23 would have been we would have
just kind of back to just normal race season.
Yeah, it was a good time. I think 23 was the year I did that Dale Earnhardt quad.
I think you're right. Yep.
I was super bummed out because I saw it was for Daytona Bike Week. A guy had he was racing Daytona Supercross and he had like an Earnhardt themed like KTM. Or a gas or something. That
was Miles, I think.
I was like, man, this thing is sick.
Yeah.
No, it was for the actual like.
Oh, okay. Because I know Miles did that with his KTM quad where it was kind of like a Dale Earnhardt theme.
And he did the. I can't remember who the gear company was, but he had like the gear done up to where it looked like a actual fire suit. Yeah. But I saw the bike for the Supercross. I'm like, oh, that would be cool. Yeah. Like, I'm going to do that. Yeah. And then I saw Miles show up, and I was just like,
yeah. Because I was going to do a JJ Dale Earnhardt bike too, because he was number 3, and he's number 3 because of Dale Senior.
Right.
And and then that year it was like all these Earnhardt bikes. I'm like,
dude,
never mind.
Do you know how mad I was? I was like, oh, this is going to be so unique. Yeah. Everyone's going to be like, that's cool. Like, that's awesome. I saw just about every other quad bike, whatever, had like some kind of an Earnhardt theme. Do it for Dale. I'm like, really, guys? Like,
yeah. Well, that was kind of about when Cletus was gaining traction with all of his stuff, and obviously everything was do it for Dale at that point. So it just stemmed up a whole new thing.
I was pretty bummed. I shouldn't say bummed, like, 'cause I think it was cool seeing how everyone else did it differently. You know.
Well, that's why sometimes you just got to go way out into left field when it comes to bike stuff. Like that's why my bikes always look just ridiculous.
I think that the next year I was able to kind of achieve that like way out of left field look, because it was that year when I had the Dale theme on the quad. We went back to the dunes, and my buddy Jimmy Hoover, he did that Pleasant Hill Motorsports. We brought, because we went down to Oklahoma because I had like a bunch of PTO left over. So I'm like, all right, let's burn it. So like, we went up there. I burned like a whole week. We went up there on like a Monday or a Tuesday, and we were just like, me and him went out and rode every single day. And then like Gage and Sturrock and whatnot ended up meeting us out there like Friday or Thursday. Yeah. But he brought, his Xbox with him, and we're sitting there watching like National Born Killers and like, some of the older Huevos.
I thought you were going to say like you're playing some ATV versus MX versus ATV Unleashed or something. It
was I'll still play it from time to time.
Yeah. It's right over there. So.
It's a good way to kill a couple hours. Yeah. So we're watching like these old National Born Killers and old Huevos videos, and like there was, I want to say it was Dunkelberger coming around on just
Yellow
like a
frame, white plastic.
and I'm like, dude, that thing's sick. Like you don't ever see anyone like really do up like a YFZ. Like they're all kind of like either a black or a silver frame, sometimes white, and
blue,
it's like right. I was like, man, that's cool. That's super different looking. I'm like, I bet that would look pretty sweet on a brand new one. Yeah. He's like, it would. He is. Let's tear yours down when we get back. And I was like, all right. Yeah. Ended up going up there and kind of going through that whole process. That was the first time I'd ever actually like
did a bike
gone through framed it and then everything up. And I was like, oh man, this is way more expensive than I thought it was, just because all those little bearings and seals.
It's not cheap. Up. It all adds up.
And then that year when I got it done, I was super pumped on it. Like I had a bunch of people that would stop, because I think that was the year of the Legends race.
24?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I actually, in 20... Yeah, see,
I think it was in 24. Yeah,
because I missed the first round or two or something for whatever reason.
It wasn't done, I thought.
Yeah, it wasn't quite done. And then, I ended up, I can't remember what else was going on, but I was able to, I basically was low man on the totem pole at work, so I wasn't able to get the time off to go to see the other rounds I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then I got to go to, I think the Legends race might have been actually like the only national I did that year. So
okay, yeah, because that might be right. Yeah,
I think so. But I went to I got to go to the Legends race, which I think is kind of fitting for that quad to be like one of the only ones like I got to race it at. I had a bunch of. I went to Ironman that year. That was like the only other one I went to.
Okay. Because which race was it that you broke the crank in your Duramax?
That was on my way to Loretta's.
That's what it was. Yes. Okay. Yep.
That's right. Also a pretty not super cool experience. Right. But yeah, no, like at the Legends race, I was sitting there and like it was like every so often people like, oh, like they take pictures and like this thing's so cool. Like this thing's sick. Yeah. And come to find out, because I'm like really bad about checking like my DMs or my Instagram or anything. I went to my because there was like a little number one blah blah on like the request.
Yeah, what the hell's this?
I was like, yeah, that's weird. And it was P Brown 199. I'm just like, it said, hey man. I'm like, oh, it was like 4 months after the fact or 6 months after the fact. And I'm just like, man, like I already know what this was. I kind of respond like, hey dude, like I didn't see this. Like I wasn't ignoring you. Like I promise you, like, because he was like, hey, like where do you live?
Oh, okay.
And I was like, he was for sure like, and he was like, yeah, like, I was kind of wanting to ride that thing because I think he had rode for Lost Creek at one point in time.
Yep.
I was like, man, like I told him, I was like, I would have had I seen this message, like, I would have, absolutely. Yeah. But I didn't. So, that was a super big missed opportunity. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe it'll happen again. You just got to build that bike again one day.
I would love for it to, but I don't know if Jeremy would want to go through all that stress of.
As far as the Legends race, it's not going to happen for quite a while yet. If it does happen again,
that was cool though, because that was like the first time I think I'd ever been to, like the first time since going to like a Redbud, where you go to somewhere and you're like, oh man, this feels like a national.
That's just it. Yeah, and also I feel like the bikes that would never get the attention at a normal race got the attention there, because I think I've mentioned this. Maybe it was in Jeremy Osborne's episode. But, I obviously was doing JJ's Pro-Am Pro Sport program that year. And I'm sitting there in between motos working on JJ's bikes. And I know my YFZ was under the tent, but then I had the Blaster there because I raced the 2-stroke class on the Blaster. And it was sitting right outside the tent. I'm looking around and like, first of all, it's like, there's all these people watching me work. Like,
weird.
Hi. But then I like look over and I see cell phones out and a bunch of people taking pictures of my Blaster that I built for my son. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
At first
like,
you're like, what's going on? Like, this is weird. Like, 'cause you don't see it. Like,
Right.
you don't ever have to deal with it, or not have to. You don't ever get to deal with it.
Yeah. Especially like if it's a quad like that. Like, oh, like, first of all, most people don't. Kids these days at the Nationals don't even know what the hell that is. And like, a lot of people are like, those things suck. But then all these other people are like, holy shit, there's a Blaster here. Like, I got to take a picture. So me being me, I go over and I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, oh, this thing's so sweet. Like, okay, whatever.
All right.
Yeah, do you see these things over here? No, I don't care.
Whatever.
Whatever. This is a budget Blaster build.
Whatever the hell EFI is.
Yeah.
And just walk on there.
Yeah.
All right,
What
cool.
kind of carburetor you got on this
Pretty
thing?
much. My buddy had one, hop a pop can going into second gear.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, cool, man.
Right. But
it was cool. It was cool.
It was a great
doing
race.
that. Like because when I got that quad done, I was like super adamant. Like, all right, I need to go like try and get Gloop to do videos of this thing while it's still clean and looks cool. Like, I was like, hey, like if I can, and like anytime I can, I do like getting the stuff from him just because like I'm able to post stuff that looks cool. And
and Gloop kills it. I mean, he does such a great job of getting like whether it's shorts or even if you wanted something a little bit longer form from him, like him and his crew do a really good job with.
Yeah,
with
I usually just like, hey, like let me get some reels if I can. Like, pay him and. Then I get a bunch of these just raw clips that I can play around with on like TikTok or Instagram or something. That a lot of them I never post it or anything. But it's like, oh, this is cool. This is so cool.
Yeah. Why do you think the 4130 Motorsports pages are going off like crazy? Because Jeremy's had pages and pages of reels from over these years, and got a little bit of time off.
To start.
Yeah. Time to start dumping them now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that was a really cool one, and then after that year, because every year I think I'd kind of done like a different kind of look or theme on my quad, and I didn't have the money to go frame my quad again. Yeah, and I was like, oh, like what am I gonna do with a yellow frame? Like this is a little rough,
right?
So I ended up going to I would like just start scrolling through like vintage Yamaha, like whatever, like just trying to find inspiration somewhere, and I ended up finding it was like a '96 YZ250.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think you showed me a picture of something,
and I was like, all right, like this is kind of different, and it was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool, like run like the YFC like totally down the side of the quad. I'm like, no one ever does
like
that.
they did on the YZs. Yeah,
I'm like let's do it.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yep.
So I ended up doing that, and kind of I think that one personally, like I think that one actually ended up turning out looking a little bit better, just having a little different look.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was. I'm always trying to do something a little different.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I understand that completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also with you refreshing and doing like the old YZ look, to you didn't see it every day anymore. So just having it, especially right away, you do that refresh, and like, holy crap, this is amazing. Right. It's the same damn thing with different graphics. Like,
right. You're like, oh, this looks way better.
Yeah.
Or, but like when I got that Lost Creek kind of build done.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, this thing is the cat's meow.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Well, now that one was really different too, because again, people these days don't know what Lost Creek was. Unless you are an enthusiast that's just into it and into everything about ATVs and ATV racing, if you're under, say 30, you don't have a freaking clue what it is.
Right.
So, yeah, but it was a cool build when you did it.
It was different for sure. I liked that one. I'm still super proud of. I'll look at pictures of that, and every now and then I'll kind of have that like inkling of, man, I shouldn't have changed that. Like, that was awesome. And then I'm like, no, like let's bring it back to reality. Like we're good.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I always like I'll see stuff like different stuff, and I'm just like, man, like that would be awesome if we had the opportunity or the ability to do it. Like these kind of cool one-off races, like out like they do it out of Glen Helen, like that Day in the Dirt, where it's like a 24-hour like team endurance race. That's kind of like a GP type loop that you have like a lot of moto stuff, and then some trails worked into it, and
just need somebody that's enthusiastic to do it. I mean,
that's willing.
We can. You just need to have somebody that's willing to do it.
Like I think those types of races are like what really bring a lot of people out of like the woodwork for like these kind of cool one-off events.
Right, and like you said, the Legends race, like that brought people from all over the country.
Right.
And, Jeremy Osborne sat exactly where you are right now and talked about how, any more people and he would have ran out of parking and all sorts of stuff for that event. So, it just goes to show you do something different and you absolutely try and promote it. Good things do happen.
Yeah, like it's like they're definitely good problems to have. Like when he's like, man, I'm like running out of places to put people.
Right.
It's
he was like 2 or 3 cars away from not having parking.
Which I believe it.
Yeah.
Like my parents or something like that were driving in. They were like, like the line for people that hadn't, paid for tickets or whatever was like damn near down to what is it, like Hawking Valley Road or whatever it is that it was like a good ways down the hill of people that were just waiting to get in the morning, which is nuts. I'll try and like kind of not pester, but like kind of throw ideas out. Like I always like, it seems like the sand racing is like super popular right now, or like kind of blowing up for whatever reason right now. Like I saw a lot of stuff from like that Weston Beach race and that race that Chad went down there and did.
Yeah, well, because I think it's finally that stuff is getting exposure in here, because they've always had those kind of races. They've always had the beach races and, like EDV that Chad did. Like all that stuff exists. That I forget the name of the one that Harry Walker just did too.
Yeah, but it's
like it's always been there. I've seen videos of those races for decades. I mean, since like early days of YouTube.
Right.
But seems like most people don't see that stuff here because we don't have it.
Yeah, like I saw something. It was like, I don't know if it was an old Dirt Wheels thing or something, but it was I think Virginia Beach had one at one point in time. Now I don't know if it was to the same level of like some of these like crazy like European ones that are just like they turn into Omaha Beach after a while. But like I think those things look awesome. Like, why can't we have something like that?
I think
over here?
the big thing here, like if you're actually trying to do it on the beach, is going to be finding a beach that someone's not going to, like, the area is not going to go ballistic about if you try to do this.
That's what I've heard, because I thought I saw something about it getting kind of pitched towards like Daytona for Bike Week. And I think from what I understood is there was a lot of like pushback from like environmental groups.
Probably.
I think sea turtles or something.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, you think about it, the Daytona racetrack is there because they used to race on the beach.
Right.
But how about 2026? It starts very soon for the race season. You're going to compete again?
Yep.
And what classes are you going to do?
Probably just C classes.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, you could always try different things here and there again, like you said. Try doing the 25 plus and things like that.
If I have an inkling to go get embarrassed, I might sign up for 25 plus.
I mean, it's always a good class, and there's always going to be somebody that signs up for the 25 plus class that honestly doesn't belong there. They should be running a pro sport or pro am, something like that, or But even when I started racing it, people are like, "Oh, that's the vet pro class."
Pretty much.
Good to know. I'm glad I signed up for it. Got my ass beat for however many years I raced it. 2 or 3 or 4 years I raced it. But you're still on the YFZ.
Yep.
You have 2 YFZs now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So my girlfriend's dad has he's like, I don't know if he just like fell in love with it or if he just has like a new motorsport to explore, but he's just like, oh, this is awesome. Like, this is sick. Like,
he seems to definitely be behind it completely.
Yeah, he's because at first I was like, oh, like he's it seems like he's very into like old school kind of motorsports, if that makes sense, like flat track, like dirt sprint cars. Like we'd go up to
you're like just grassroots, good old boy sports,
right? Like we'd go up to Eldora like every year for sprint car racing, and like that place blows me away because you'll go there and there's a stadium full of people, right, and there's, I don't know, like 2 hours realistically total worth of racing.
Yeah.
Between all like the the qualifying and the heats and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like they're like the 50-50 raffle they do there. It's like I think the one time we were there, it was like up to like 80,000 or 85,000 for like what your take home was.
Yeah, it's wild.
And you're just like, man, like I know that I'm like pretty confident that not a single person in the stands can afford to build and race one of these sprint cars. Like, why is it they can get this huge crazy crowd and like we can't get people consistently to come watch? They promote
the crap out of it.
Oh,
there's a lot to watch between the carnage and the drama and everything else. It's also been around a hell of a lot longer than ATV racing has, or ATVs, period.
Yeah. If there's a fight in the pits, people want to watch.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen this shit now. We'll get it. I mean, if we can talk about it if we want, but
I wasn't there to talk about it.
Yeah. But how about there is something I want to ask you about, but before that, what is your most memorable racing moment that you've had?
I don't know. It's like I would say that I think the first time we went to Georgia, or the first time I went to Georgia was pretty cool for me, at least, because like I said, at that point in time, like I had no like experience or like, I didn't know anyone there. Like I was basically in the dark.
Yeah. And you're not somebody that followed racing for a long time and then finally got into it. Like you had a 4-wheeler and then decided, hey, this seems kind of cool. I
don't know. I was.
Well, like, I guess you kind of you watched a lot
racing
of stuff.
I had, like there was a big gap.
Yeah.
Right. So like the information that I was had, or like what I was like, oh, this is top level racing was the 250R based hybrids that they were racing 25 years ago.
The raw glory days, really.
So like I kind of showed up there and you're like, all right, like where's Spader at? Like where's where are these guys at? But I'd been watching like a lot of those like the Rip It Up Films videos, and like I remember I just watched on like the way down there, we had watched the Quad Cross the Nations like series he did where it was I think it was him, Wienen, or it was Hetrick, Wienen, and Rastrelli, I think.
Okay.
And it was like kind of more of like a behind the scenes, like them living in the house.
That was like 2018 or 2019, I think Jeffrey went. Because that was when the hell was that? That was... I think
Joel was on a hybrid that year, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because Joel's on the hybrid like the first two races. And then obviously he went over to the Yamaha and
so changed. We had basically like that was like we'd watched it on the way down there, right? And we're sitting there and we're like, we had no idea what we were getting into.
Yeah,
we're rolling down there and we had a half-ton extended cab pickup truck. It had a little bit of a lift on it. I had a tent, a Foreman like charcoal barbecue.
Yeah.
And then a brand new Yamaha with a set of graphics on it. And I was like, I'm gonna roll in there and they're gonna think I'm like the real deal factory guy.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was 2018 was when Rastrelli went over. That was because I believe that's when Joel and Carly had Ev, their first child. I think that's why they missed. So sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. But we pulled in there, and I have no idea what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Like I'm rolling down there, like I'm gonna have like one of the nicer setups there. Like obviously, this is a charcoal grill.
This thing's
pretty nice.
Yeah.
Not a speck of rust on it.
Right. You guys are cooking over a goddamn hole in the ground.
The ashtray's clean on this thing. You could eat off it.
Yeah.
But we get in there, and I pull into the gates, and I'm just like jaw dropped, because it's F450 Platinum, these huge trailers, like toter something. You're like, oh my god, what did I just get myself into? You see like 4 bikes all the same, or what? You're like, all right, well, I don't know, like HRC was down here. But we're sitting there trying to get our tent set up. That usually is not a super fun experience for anyone involved. And Rastrelli comes rolling up there in his toter home, and I saw the door. I'm like, oh, Rastrelli. And he came out and, I think I made a comment, but he took the time to kind of BS a little bit back and forth, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then as I'm like kind of going through and like walking around, like I was like, oh man, like all these people here, like actually like they'll give you the time of day.
Yeah.
Even though
none of us are superstars,
right?
in
like
this sport,
no one like speaks down to you, kind of thing, and that was super cool. But like actually like an on track type of moment would have been, I don't know, like there was me and one of my buddies, JD. We were up at Ironman racing, and we were C class, like we're duking it out for like 7th and 8th, or 6th and 7th, or whatever it was. Yeah. But we are banging bars. Like I bent my Nerf bar all the way in and whatnot, like just going at it. Yeah. We get done and we are just cracking up. Like that was awesome. Like we need to do that more often.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I mean, you're going through it and you're like, oh, I feel like Stu and RC at like at Southwick or whatever it is. The clip where they're both just railing outside. Yeah. Like. It felt awesome, but I'm sure if there's video, like it's like, oh man, I want to speed that up a little bit.
You don't need to know what it looked like third person.
No, but it was that was probably one of the cool like on track moments. Is just like going back and forth and just like gritting it out and then having a laugh about it afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's cool. Obviously it is nice for you to have something that's on and off the track, and a great battle is something that sticks with you for a while.
Like, that was awesome.
So, but this year you're going to come into it. You're going to race the nationals, but this year it's a little different for you, correct? Like you're kind of racing a little bit for a purpose in a way.
Yeah. So, not to pull my phone out and look at a bunch of stuff.
Be that guy.
So my girlfriend, her nephew, and I guess Josh's grandson. He had, I don't know exactly what it's like, what the like medical name for it is, but basically he develops like brain tumors. Like, and like as he gets older, as they develop, like the more aggressive they develop. So I think he was born. I don't know if he was born with one or he developed one like very shortly after he was born.
Yeah.
But that got cut out, when he was younger. And then I think it was like right before Christmas time, he had like some weird symptoms going on. And then, they took him up to Children's or OSU Children's or Nationwide or whatever it is, which I think from what I understand is like one of the better like children's hospitals in the country or something.
Yeah.
But they, did some MRIs, found out like one came back. So they had to do another surgery to, remove that and whatnot. And now he's going, I think he just started radiation treatments and whatnot to kind of help clear it out.
Yeah.
So if anyone he hasn't had their graphics done yet and they want to kind of show support, they can do like I've had Ian at SSI do a little gray ribbon with like a hashtag in there, hashtag Colson Strong, which if not, whatever. And then there's a fundraiser actually going on here at a Mexican restaurant
near Columbus, correct?
Yeah, kind of. It's out, I believe, out by like London, Ohio.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, London.
I'm trying to find the dates real quick. March 16th, 17th, and 18th.
So right after the first race.
Right after, yeah. So I understand it's, there's probably a good chunk of people that aren't going to be coming back up from Deckers they're just staying down there by Georgia, which would be cool, but normal people have to go to work.
Right.
Yeah, it is London, Ohio.
Yep.
But March 16th, 17th, and 18th. It's at Los Mariachis. I speak Spanglish.
It's a Mexican restaurant, though.
Yes. Margaritas, chips, dip.
Who doesn't like Mexican food?
Correct.
All right.
So this restaurant is going to be doing donating 20% of their profits or sales or on those 3 days to help cover medical costs and whatnot for the family.
Yeah.
I think it's his mom's side of the family, I think, got that set up or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Like obviously you've told me about this before, and when you kind of told me about the brain tumor right away, like that hit a soft spot to me, because 9 years ago now, actually just over 9 years ago, I lost one of my best friends due to brain cancer. And, obviously it all started with finding a tumor, a brain tumor, and finding out that it was a lot worse than what it could be. So, yeah, like the gray ribbon, like I know all that good stuff. And, I'm sure we've all, either know somebody or have personally lost somebody that is battled with some form of, tumor or cancer, and it all sucks no matter what. So obviously it's, you're in this family of ATV racing. You have, a family member that is going through something, and, like I said, Josh is at the races with you, and he is invested in this. He may not be as financially invested as some people, but mentally and like he is all about this. Like he's one of those guys that can talk about it forever too.
He texted me. It was a couple weeks ago. It was whenever the Michael Perkins episode released.
Yeah, that was just a few weeks ago. Yeah.
40 minutes after that episode, have you listened to the Michael Perkins podcast? And I was like, he must have just listened to this right when it turned on. I clicked on it, like, nope, that's like hour and a half or 2 hour, whatever long episode.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't even listened to it yet. I'm like,
or is listening to it
as we speak. Like, this is incredible. Like,
yeah.
But I think motorsports in general just gets him going.
Yeah. He's all about it.
I think his dad used to do a lot of drag racing back in the day.
Okay.
And I think he was a machinist too. And he was they're just from a very early age, he was in more like the four-wheel, like automotive type motorsports.
Which, I mean, and it's like myself personally, like I came from, like I didn't have family that raced or anything like that. I had an uncle that raced motocross before I was born. And, I had a dad that did more street-oriented stuff when he was younger. But, it's not like I had a grandpa or anybody like that was a big drag race or anything like that. But once you get into this stuff and you don't have your blinders on, there's a gigantic world of motorsports out there.
It's nuts.
And so much of it is cool. It's not like there's really a boring motors. Like even the rice paddy drag racing and stuff like that. It's like, this is weird, but it's cool. These things are kind of neat.
Right. Like, cause when we lived out west, you see a lot of, like one of my uncle's buddies, he had a cigarette boat. That thing was just rowdy.
Well, even some of that stuff too, like you'll see the videos or people, like, I don't know where exactly it is, but you see people that have like 2JZs and RB26s and even like Subaru EJs in this like little fishing boat, essentially, just like a little flat bottom boat. And I don't know what the hell this is, but it's awesome. I like hearing the noises.
Right. Yeah. Like, cause so like my mom's side of the family, like they were real big into like the, off-road, like rock crawling, Jeep stuff.
Yeah. And even that stuff is cool.
Dude, it's nuts. Like, a guy, actually my neighbor, so him and his wife, I think his wife runs it's like a women's like Jeep off-roading.
Oh, cool.
Club or something.
Yep.
But he does a lot of like, work and setup and like, he's not taking it to a shop to, set stuff up or, do what he's doing. A
lot of those people are do-it-yourselfers.
Right.
Unless you have a lot of money.
Right. So he'll like, our garages look into each other, right? And like every now and then he'll, walk into here or vice versa.
Yeah.
But, he'll walk in there and they kind of look at what's on like our stuff. And he's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's super cool actually. Like that's interesting. And like, I think he likes enjoying like being able to talk to someone like also like has like a ability to understand like what he's talking about, but maybe
got some technical terms that go back and forth,
but doesn't like know about what he's talking. So like is still like interested, like when you're like talking
something you can explain and
like, someone's not just
but you have
like,
a grasp on what's going on.
Oh, left field, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to him. I was like, dude, like we need to go out and watch like King of Hammers one year. Like that thing looks awesome.
That would be a really cool event to attend,
dude.
Yeah.
Did you see? There's a video floating around somewhere of a guy with a semi truck. He's got like
did not
it looks like 4 feet of travel.
Yeah.
these big like military bead locks on there, like the 54.
It's like one of the Dakar trucks.
No, it's like a like a long nose
Really?
Peterbilt with like a wrecker hook on the back of
God.
it, and he's got like these big Mickey Thompson like rock crawling tires, bead locks, stacks, and he's going up that Chocolate Thunder or whatever they call it, the big like rock garden hill that everyone like parties at night.
Yeah.
And he is just like working his way through it.
It's not yellow, is it?
I want to say it was green. I'll have to find it later and send it to you. It is just, you are like, well, that's the coolest thing I've seen this week. Like, that's awesome.
No, there's a lot of just, like I said, there's a lot of random stuff out there, and it, like stuff like that. It's probably somebody like, I can do this, and I'm gonna do it just because
not?
I can. Yeah,
I have time and shop and money to burn.
So, but yeah, I mean, what else do you do outside of racing? Then do you have any other hobbies?
I don't know. I would say racing has developed it's
kind of devoured your life.
Well, not that too,
Yeah.
but it has developed a bit of a need to collect tools that I know I won't ever use.
Well, here's the thing with tools,
organizing and whatnot.
Right, but when it comes to tools, and hopefully anyone else that's listening to this either understands this or knows exactly what I'm talking about. When you don't have it, you need it. But then when you have it, you'll never use it.
Yep.
When it comes out, except for obviously you got your hand tools and all that basic stuff. And there's some random stuff where it's like, in 10 years, there's going to be a tool that's like, I have this and I've never used it.
So I bought, I think the first like impulse tool purchase I made,
Mm-hmm.
I was at Harbor Freight and they had a sale on Icon crow's feet for like $40 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, obviously I'll need that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when, but I will.
Yeah.
So I bought it. Besides pulling them out of the box, I haven't actually touched them.
I've got a whole set of them that I've had for forever. And I think I've used 2 or 3 sizes, and that's just, torquing cylinder bolt or cylinder nuts for a 2-stroke.
Yeah, what'll get me too is I'll be struggling with something because like I have a pretty small toolbox. I'll be like struggling with something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because like some of my drawers don't open up all the way, I won't maybe see some of those other tools that I've purchased that I didn't know I was going to need or when I would be wanting to use it.
Yeah.
And then I'll kind of have this light bulb moment like, wait a minute, why don't I use this?
We can make this easy.
Is way easier.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd say collecting tools is kind of a fun one, but
we all have our tisms, right?
Yeah, it's bad. It'll rage out on like
Yeah.
if you go to like my YouTube like algorithm, it's like upcoming leaked Harbor Freight deals, Supercross stuff, motocross stuff, ATV Nationals when it's in season, Baja trucks, and then it loops back around to the first part again. But it's I don't know, it's fun. It gives me something to do and tinker with.
Exactly. And tools are never a bad thing to have.
New.
It's not like you're buying decorative plates or something like that where it just sits on the wall and you can't touch it.
Right.
Don't even look at it.
This is not for eating. This is for looking, obviously.
It hangs on the wall for a reason.
See the cherry blossom on
Don't
it?
look at it. You're making it fade.
Put it in a glass case that we can't get near.
So you're buying tools like crazy that you will hopefully use
Eventually.
at
some point in time.
And then you need a bigger box and
luckily I work with a guy he's gotten like really into 3D printing. So he's been getting into, I can like tell him, hey, this is what I have, and then he'll go through whatever app he uses to find his, because he's not actually making the
he's
files.
not drawing everything.
He's like finding the file,
going like
for me.
Cults 3D and all that stuff.
Bamboo, I think is what it is. But so through there, I can like get little stuff to organize stuff. So that stuff keeps me occupied for a while. I don't know, but outside of like work, like just because like the way my schedule works, it really eats up a ton of time. Because I work like kind of a weird rotating schedule. So like I'll like Friday, Saturday, Sunday I'll work, and then I'm off Monday, Tuesday, and then I work Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And for a long time I was working 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Which is brutal.
I could imagine.
I would I would get all, like I would basically be up for like 30 hours or 40 hours or whatever it is. I'd get off of work in the morning, come home, go to the gym, pound energy drinks all day, just like it was going out of style. Come home, and I would basically try and stay up to like be awake until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and try to like flip back to a day shift schedule. So I'm like not sleeping my day away. And then, every now and then you'd be like sitting there and all of a sudden you'd catch a second wind at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock because this is normally when you're waking up and kind of getting yourself ready to go. Exactly. So you'd like, damn, I'm not tired yet. So that was pretty brutal. But now I'm 11 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Right.
And it's a little bit better, but it's still, I try to get up in the morning with her. So it's like you'll get up and then, it's 6 o'clock or whatever, 6:30 with her. And I'm not usually rolling out of bed till 7:30 or something. And get my stuff done in the morning and then go to work, come home, watch some TV for a little bit, and then repeat the next day.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Between the dogs and whatnot, kind of keeps us pinned at the house a little bit more than most people sometimes.
Yeah. So I mean, racing's your thing, and everything else is just kind of
like
day to day.
Yeah, like I get people it'll give me some shit every now and then. They're like, man, why are you so invested in this if you're not like racing for championships? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point?
Why do you do anything that you would call a hobby?
Right. And like, I understand this is a more expensive hobby, but like, what else am I gonna do?
Exactly.
Are
you building model cars because you're gonna go win a championship at building a model car? Are you driving RC cars because you're gonna go race gloop at these RC car races?
Dude, I don't know how they do it. I've actually watched. I'm like, that'd be kind of fun to do every now and then.
Yeah.
I've like watched them zip back and forth. And I'm like, I would lose my sense of direction.
It is wild, and like obviously you can see over there. Like I've got a lot of RC rock crawlers and stuff. Like I love, like I said, I do enjoy rock crawling, but I have way too much stuff invested into quads.
Rock crawling,
right? I have money to build. Well, and those over there, like it's fun. To me, I like building them.
Yeah.
Like I'll drive them too, and it's cool. But like this is a mini, like right there, like this is a mini Bronco, like rock bouncer that I built that thing.
Yeah, I think
it's
that's
just
part
a 3D
of like,
printed.
It's just like getting it, like enjoying like changing something up and doing something different, or like assembling something, building something that someone then walks by and goes, that's cool, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand I'm not, like, designing the part. You know what I mean? I'm not splitting my cases and doing my motors. Like, I get that. Like,
right.
But when I can...
That's where other people come in.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, when I have to call you or Keaton or whatever, and, like, I have a question with something, like, awesome.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's part of, like, why I, like the B squared stuff. Like, I can go on there and buy a full titanium bolt kit that has pass-throughs drilled through and, put it on my quad. Like I can make my quad look like it's as close to what I would think a factory machine is going to look like.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, there are a lot of these bikes now where it's like, if we had factories involved and could get some one-off stuff, imagine with what our stuff, we're all privateers. We're all just a grassroots bunch at this point. And look at what our machines look like. If there was Yamaha actually making us one-off pieces that, hey, try this out, obviously a lot of it you would see inside the engines and stuff like that, but, like try this super trick titanium foot peg that we made for you because it's going to do this and that. Like, okay, like this stuff it'd be sweet.
Those are typically where those phone calls that I mentioned Keaton will dodge come from. I'll see like those behind the bars videos a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I'll see something like, man, that is cool. Like, why don't we have something like that?
Right.
And then it'll then be a phone call. Hey, look at this thing I just saw. This is you should make it. You'd sell so many of them. And he's like, nope, actually no one wants those.
Probably not. Not. Most people don't even think about a lot of that stuff though. It's... As much as a lot of people like to dog on like, oh, all these Yamahas are just cookie cutter, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, if we did something different and every machine was different, most people would just bitch and complain because, well, everyone's stuff is different. We can't interchange.
Okay, but to that point, like you mentioned, cause I know Heath was on here talking about when he was riding
his TRX
his stuff, or when he was on his Yamaha.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I don't know if he said like whose other stuff or the other setup he rode.
Oh yeah.
But he rode the other setup. And he's like, oh man, this is night and day better.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's out there. You know what I mean? Like if you're going down like one train of thought and you don't know any better,
right?
or not even that it's bad, but you go try something different or a different school of thought, and you're like, oh, this is 10 times better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And everybody claims that they're running the same stuff as so and so, but even little things like I've heard a lot about this in car podcasts even. Like let's say I give you my caster camber toe specs. It doesn't mean that you're going to set that up the same way I'm going to set it up. Like your floor could be different than mine. Like I make sure I level my floor. Like my floor is level before I start. Every time, like this week, my floor may have shifted a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to check and make sure it's still level before I get everything out. Where someone else might just be going outside and throwing it on the ground and, turns out you're on a side hill, buddy. Everything's off. Or you may be, even the way you are adjusting your caster and camber, depending on whose arms you have, it adjusts differently. Some you can adjust the caster separate from the camber. Some it's all in one.
Right. And how many people do you think have like bolted on a set, or whether it's JB, Hauser, Walsh, whatever, and just there you go, and then it's good to go.
You would be surprised. And here's the other thing too. YFZ 450R. People are always like, oh, I'm 3 turns out on this Heim and 5 turns out on this Heim. Okay, your frame and my frame, I can guarantee are not the same. Yamaha frames, 9 times out of 10, are bent just a hair from the factory. Doesn't matter if it's a brand new machine or if it's a replacement frame from Yamaha, but if you look at the brand new YFZs on the showroom floor, a lot of times there's always one wheel that has a bit of bit more camber, or that just doesn't look quite right. It's because the frames are not the same. They're all bent a little bit, and it's just like with the cast pieces, you've got like some different casting tolerances, and then those lower pans is a big thing. Like I've seen them for up to a 1/2 inch one side or the other.
Right, and like those, like the tool.
They're not 1/2 inch, 1/8 of an inch. Sorry.
Like because our stuff's been since 09 essentially, right? Except for some the clutch basket.
Essentially, it's the same.
But
quad
the majority
since
of like what they're using, like those are almost 20-year-old tools that are having stuff casted out of it. So
exactly.
It's like, all right, well, when is it going to change?
Right. Yeah.
But
when are you going to remold it and stuff like that?
Right.
But yeah,
it's like, would you spend all of that money on old tools that are the same, or like would you try and like update and maybe make it to where it's like, hey, we're going to utilize the same tools for 4 different platforms?
Well, and here's the other thing too. We've all, like, this YFZ 450R has been at the 90% the same since 2009. We all know that machine was being designed and R&D'd well before 2009. So you had it where, everybody has said, and I mean, there's very, very reliable sources saying that Honda had a new generation TRX. Who's saying that Yamaha doesn't have a new YFZ?
Believing that they don't,
right. You can't tell me that they never looked into redesigning the YFZ since 2009.
Like, if, hypothetically speaking, if Can-Am, Can-Am, Honda, whoever decide, hey, we're gonna make something new, right?
Fingers crossed, it's probably gonna be KO.
We're going to put Yamaha in the ground and we're gonna take over, right?
Right.
Why wouldn't Yamaha be like, oh yeah, well,
check this out, 4-valve, yeah. Look at this thing we've had laying around since 2000.
We didn't even need to make it.
Yeah.
Good luck catching up.
Exactly. And I mean, it seems like, and this is me just speculating, but it's like every year there's always like one crucial part of a YFZ that's on back order. Like it'll be frame, or it'll be, obviously plastic is always like certain color. And I mean, I understand like the onesie twosie colors, but at times where it's like, I can't get a black fender for a month, or I can't get a black frame for a month. Like, why are you sometimes behind on this stuff?
Why is it like no one aftermarket has come to like kind of take up a big chunk of that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like because Mayer was around, or some of the other plastic companies.
On the YFZR, Mayer made plastics for the 09 to 13s because the 09 to 13s you had all the like riveted in overlays on the rear fenders, and like there's all those different pieces. It was expensive to get OEM Yamaha 09 to 13 plastic. Mayer made that replacement stuff, and it was still, I mean, fairly expensive, but cheaper than OEM. And then in 14, Yamaha went, wham, full set of plastic. If you want blue and white, you can get this stuff for about $200. Well, now Mayer's like, oh, we can't touch that. Yeah. And so they just never bothered. And now we're at the, this is 12 years ago, where YFZR parts were a lot of the stuff. As soon as they said, hey, our ATV, our YFZs and the Grizzlies are assembled in the US, a lot of stuff like cut drastically in prices. Plastics, you could get a lot of this stuff for really cheap. Like I said, if you got like the blue and white 14 colorway, it was dirt cheap. It was like $200 for a full set of plastic. You can get cranks and cylinders for like $200. And now we're $500 plus for cranks and cylinders, set of plastic, depending on the color. I mean, we're getting right back up there to what Hondas and LTRs cost to get plastics.
Yeah. It's just nuts. Like you would think, because you would think someone would maybe see an opening and be like, all right, there's something we can do here. Like, I don't know about you, but I hate the warning labels that are on the plastics that are sunken in.
It does suck.
That's like the one spot where it's always going to peel your graphics. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or, just being able to get different colors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like some of these different colors that Yamaha has and things. And I mean, Yamaha has done some colors where, like the color of that can you've got there. Like, why did you do that? It makes sense if I have a Margaritaville sponsorship, but none of us have that.
Yeah.
Some of those colors, like, why?
Because it's like, that's really all we have to look forward to is like, hey, what's the new special edition?
What's the new BNGs look like?
What are my color options going to be for plastics if I want to change something up later?
Right.
And I think they really killed it this year, that red and white.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I've always just gone to just a neutral black, because then, all right, my graphics, my powder coat, my seat cover is what's really gonna, anything will look good on black plastic.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get so stained and shitty looking like white.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the black, you're like, oh man, look at all these scratches and water spots that are everywhere.
I guess I've got like wraps on my plastic, so you never see hardly any of the plastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's just random stuff like that. And there is a couple companies out there that are making like a chromoly YFZR chassis.
So I saw one, I think it was like a European based
Gemlers.
Yeah, I think so. But they sold, it looked like YFC chassis, but so you could either take a YFC motor, or they sold it for different mounting points for like a KFX, a YZ, and I think a CR.
They do. I don't know if I'm saying correctly, so I'm sorry if I'm butchering this name, but Gemlers is the company, or Gelmers or something like that.
Along those lines.
Yeah, they make it's a chromoly YFZR chassis that they make it for KTM, dirt bike motors, CRFs, like all sorts of dirt bike engines. But yeah, they do make one for the YFZR motor still too. So
I really want someone else that has a whole lot more money than myself to find out about these, and then see like, hey, like let's put one together, like back to back, like have the same guy build a YZ and then that chrome ollie chassis, set them up identical, and then
what are your characteristics looking like? Yeah,
people always talk about like on the dirt bike stuff, like, hey, Eli's going to this KTM with a steel frame, like it's gonna be bad, and then
Well, that was even like when Dungey went from Suzuki to KTM, and they're like, oh, you're going to a carburetor, you're going to a steel frame, you're going to a no-link rear end, like, you're going to suck. And then Dungey did really good.
Right.
And like obviously I think the one big thing that they changed for Tomac was that they put a cable clutch on it. But yeah, I mean, there's personal preferences on a lot of different things. And, there's some people that would, if you had a chromoly chassis YFZ, some people would probably love it. Some people would hate it.
Like having that ability to because they always talk about like that rear end traction, right? That Eli's getting from that steel frame and all the flex. Like we ride's Blue Groove. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean last year there was a good amount of sand that we rode. We had a pretty good mixture as far as different terrains. But yeah, I mean there's a lot of different things that you can do, and it's mostly in with what we have going on, it's not like we can really change a lot with our rear suspension. You could change your linkage every round and change how the weight transitions. Otherwise, you're pretty much just doing shock changes if you're trying to get more mechanical grip. Because at the end of the day, if you keep running the same machine as it is every race, the only way you're going to gain or lose traction is if you change your tires. Sorry, we have a very, very small selection of tires left anymore. And it's not like you can get, like let's say the Gold Speeds. It's not like I can get 9 different compounds of Gold Speeds to make sure you're happy with how the traction is. That's where it comes in, and it's, doing different shock changes and things like that to try to change your weight transfer on it and get essentially mechanical grip instead of just a static grip through the tires.
Have you, so when you were working with Root River, I think you said you were working with Upperman when you were working there.
Doug was Uppy's direct dude. I would help if they needed something, which was very rare.
I don't know.
Otherwise, I was just helping with, like, Doug and I built his bikes together, and we would service them in between rounds together. But when it came to race weekends, I was at the amateur rig, and then Doug was over in the pro pits with Uppy at the pro rig, because we had multiple rigs.
Yeah, I was never around for that, so I never got to, like, see.
We had a lot of stuff going on with Root River.
Like, how much support were you guys? I mean, I guess back then, like, how much R&D stuff were you guys getting to do when you were trying, or
Doug and Josh would do. Doug would, like, especially preseason between 14 and 15 when Josh was, like, initially signed on with Doug, and, like, I'm hoping, well, I know Josh can come on here soon and tell more about this too, but Doug would fly down to Florida, and they would stay at Tim Farr's place down in Florida. And then there was tracks there that they would go ride at, and they were doing, they had different sets of shocks to try. That way, instead of Doug tearing shocks apart and changing valving and doing different things, there was actual shocks that they'd be like, all right, this has this, change them out. Here's different, tires we could try out. Like, they were doing a lot of stuff together, because Josh is one of those super particular, I use my words wisely here, we're super particular riders that felt every change you would make. And I think that's why he worked really well with Mark for so long, because he was real similar to Tim Farr, where he could feel changes in the suspension, in the motor package, in the tires. Like, he was really good. Josh would be a really good R&D rider.
He could really communicate what he felt was different.
Yes. And they would, like, they were actually between 14 and 15, they were trying different things where they would hit, like, square edges and, like, slide into deep ruts and stuff. Like, Josh was bending JB swing arms, twisting them, because he was throwing the bike in the corner so hard and just catching. Something's got to give. And also with the Root River program, because of Josh, in 15 he was the only one, but because of Josh, his bikes had different gusset kits than all the other riders. Because to Josh, the gusset kit that Root River is always running before that was too rigid. Josh liked the JB gusset kit because it allowed for some flexibility. Frames would last longer with him using the different gusset kit.
That's nuts.
Yeah, like it was a point where when he was running the initial gussets, they had to pull the front motor, I think it was the front motor mount bolt out, to allow enough flex in the chassis so it wouldn't just immediately crumble.
That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like anytime I go pick shocks up or whatever, or drop something off over at Doug's, like, because I'm only like 45 minutes from
And you're
home.
a curious person.
Yeah.
You like to know things.
And he'll start talking and kind of throwing stories out, and you were just like, whoa.
Yeah. Doug lived a lot of that stuff, and he, Root River was one of those teams where if something needed done, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was never like, we got to think about the budget and stuff like that. It was just, let's try it. Get a bunch of these. We'll see which one they like.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a different world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't really see that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, well, at this point, like there's different things that even I've thought about and it's not to do with ATV motocross. Like I've been talking to one of my good buddies in Wisconsin that ice races, that rubber class ice races. And it's like, I'm taking knowledge that I've learned through other forms of motorsports that aren't even ATV racing. Like why aren't you guys doing this with your front end setup? And why aren't you doing that to get going back to the whole mechanical grip and static grip thing? Like why aren't you doing this to get more grip without actually getting more grip through the tire? And I'll go, I never really thought about that. So hopefully like we can try some of this stuff at some point, and then I at least know like this is going to do better in that world, or it sucks and don't even talk about it again.
Yeah, like I think like when you go like we were talking about like that King of Hammers race, like when you go see like these super crazy high travel, pre-runner trophy truck type deals where you're seeing just an insane amount of travel and whatnot with a independent front suspension.
Yeah.
You can sometimes you'll see videos of like just some of those components working and whatnot, and like if you
or even just CAD drawings of how that stuff is.
If you can understand how it's working, like sometimes you're like, I wonder what their thought process is here. I wonder what they're trying to overcome or whatever. And some of it, you have to imagine like you really only maybe see a difference or feel a difference when you're running like 3 feet of suspension travel on 40s.
I think the big thing, and there's a lot of things that I feel that are done in like the off-road truck world that we don't do literally just because of the space. What we have and what we're working with is so much more compact than what a truck is working with. On an off-road truck where most of that spindle is hanging outside of the wheel, we can't really afford that. We're trying to tuck a lot of stuff in, because the more you have, you've got your kingpin essentially. The more you have hanging out past that kingpin, the worse your bump steer is going to get. Look at a dually truck. How all 6 wheels are the same. The fronts are like the hub comes out and the wheel goes way back in. You're trying to get that tire, or the tire goes way back in. You're trying to get that tire back closer to the kingpin so that it actually handles better.
Right.
There's a lot of different things, and trophy trucks and all these other high dollar off-road industries, they've got a lot more space and a lot of different ideas that they can throw out there because they're not trying to compact everything in.
Yeah, like my neighbors that get in like the Jeep off-roading stuff. His wife works like a 4x4 shop company deal. Yeah, she got to go to that AIM Expo that was out in Indiana. And she said that she basically got to go through some of the other motorsport. It was like, oh man, like we feel like the poor people almost. Like it's like we're like the redheaded stepchild almost. Like when you go to like see some of these other motorsports, and like to hear them talk about that, and when I kind of look at like the 4x4 off-road like rock crawling type stuff, and I think, man, like these people are just, they bleed money.
We're a gateway motorsport, and it is like to a lot of us that this is all we do, or this is all we have ever done. This is expensive, but there is way more expensive stuff. Like you think a monster truck. Say obviously Monster Jam. Feld owns a lot of the trucks on Monster Jam, but if you're a private monster truck owner, you think that they're running on the same budget as us? It's all other motorsports. Drag racing, and there are cheaper forms of drag racing, but your top fuel guys are spending more in a weekend than we are all season. It's wild what a lot of these other motorsports are doing. Circle tracks, dirt and asphalt circle track people are spending a lot of money. We're complaining about our engine builds, and then they talk about what they're buying for a sealed crate motor that they can't touch all year. Like, holy shit.
Like I'll hear, I want to say Mid-Ohio does one, but I think Mid-Ohio does, I could be wrong, but I know I've seen it somewhere, but it was a Miata spec class racing.
Mid-Ohio does a lot of stuff like SCCA and everything else.
But it wasn't like a clubman type activity, or like, you know, like a however many laps they do for like a normal type of series there, like amateur series. It was almost like an amateur like endurance race in like a Miata spec.
So there is, and I think there's one. I don't remember if there's one at Mid-Ohio this year, but at Nelson Ledges Raceway, which is like 20 minutes from here, they have a series called 24 Hours of Lemons. And there's a lot of videos and like even documentaries about this. So if you don't know what 24 Hours of Lemons is, you have to look at it. Actually, DJ and the Rocker crew, they do one of the 24 Hours at Lemons at Gingerman Raceway.
Really?
And it's 24-hour like total race time. You're not racing 24 hours straight. Total race time ends up being 24 hours. Your car is only supposed to cost $500 or less. Then obviously you got to do all the safety stuff with it as well. But if you watch these documentaries, like I want to, at some point, I want to do a 24 Hours of Lemons because it's just like the most wild, like ridiculousness ever.
Right.
And it's like there's stuff like that out there. And I don't know. There are cheaper forms of motorsports. We are technically a cheaper form of motorsports. We're a gateway motorsport.
Yeah, I would say so. Sometimes it doesn't feel like we're as much of a gateway just because of how niche sometimes we feel. Like,
well, and that's just it too. We are in this little tiny corner that, you know, we get the scraps every once in a while, and 90% of the people don't even know we're there. I mean, look at what's been going on social media lately.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't understand it. Like, go look at like one of like most of Hoag's reels. Like his reels do like pretty good numbers. And,
right.
You know, and I'm just like, how is this like
I think that's
not
just
kind of catch fire?
It's all, you know, people from around the world that do what we do. Because there's other countries, you know, I think it was Argentina. If you talk to any of the Argentinian riders that come over, ATV racing is bigger than dirt bike racing there. You know, there's people that, I forget which one of them it is, but one of the racers that comes over from Argentina, like he always has Monster stuff on his quad.
Yeah,
and
I've
stuff.
noticed. Yeah,
He was once sponsored by Monster in Argentina because that is the more highlighted sport there than dirt bikes. Then over here, you know, we can't even get a little piece of scrap of love that the dirt bikes get. No. Because it's just there's everyone that I don't want to necessarily say is trying to bury us under stuff, but like there's just no point. We have one manufacturer that's in it, and that's it. You know, it's all just us keeping the sport alive. So I mean, you look at a similar look at any like pro dirt bike rider and look at their numbers on reels and stuff like that. Look at, you know, a race car driver in a series that's actually known. And I mean, even with cars in general, the automotive scene is just way bigger than us, period. The automotive scene makes the whole power sports industry look like this little tiny speck of sand. So, yeah, we look at reels that go, you know, viral in our world, but then
it's just a small...
Yeah, like we're playing with one pebble on the playground right here.
Right. I guess it's just like a perspective thing. You're like, man, look at these numbers they're doing. This is crazy.
Yeah, right.
And then you see numbers from like, you know, a POV from, you know, some GT race that's inside that you're like, oh,
exactly.
Never mind.
Viral in our world and viral anywhere else is completely different. And yeah, again, like I said, look at the stuff on social media where there's these, you know, influencers online that just learned about us and they're like, holy crap, this is so cool. Yeah, it is cool. Come actually check it out in person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, try it once and please give us some love.
I have to imagine some of it's bound to come with that Stark stuff with Janusa.
But, yeah, and Ginger Billy and stuff like that. You know, and the Banshee channel is, you know, he's another guy that's getting really good views and doing really well on social media and that, you know, he's been around for quite a while. You know, he was friends with Joe Bird and he's actually friends with Ginger Billy. And like hopefully we can get some more get him to some races and get him involved a little bit more because like for what he's doing, yeah, it's really cool. But what could we do if you were involved a little bit more with the actual racing aspect of things? can we get you on the gate at some point and hooked to it as well? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, and that kind of all goes into, and we've kind of been talking about it anyways, but what is some of the things, like, where do you see yourself in ATV racing going forward? You clearly, you're just someone that's doing this for a hobby. I don't think you are trying to make a living off of this by any means.
No, I mean, I just staying like somewhat like involved to whatever degree, but just basically giving myself something to do around it.
Yeah,
and like kind of just staying in tune a little bit.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's kind of it's hard to, because I think you hear a lot of people who say, all right, I'm done. This is my last. I'm done.
Yeah,
and they might quit cold turkey for a few months or whatever, or a year, and then all of a sudden they're like, man, I really wish I hadn't sold all that stuff, and you know what I mean. So it's like I'd rather not like just be like, I'm gonna not do a bunch of nationals and or I'm not gonna do anything and just be done with it. I'd rather just be like, all right, I'll just, instead of tapering off or being done, like kind of taper off, do more local things or whatever. Because I actually really never got to race locals.
Okay.
I raced like those 2 or 3 and then a couple here and there, like when I can, but it's just because of my work schedule, like I basically have to pick and choose like where I'm going.
Are you going to try doing some of the locals this year now that there's a couple new series?
COMX series.
Yeah, COMX, and there's the Outlaw series too.
I don't know if I've seen anything on that one.
There's a new one, Outlaw series it's called. It's Tri-City, Pima, Beulah MX, and I think it's Maple Shade is the other track. So, I mean, even more northeast than here, but it's up. A lot of the, obviously, Tri-City, we all know because of the Schiffer family. That's their track. And, they've done a really good job with turning that place into what it is. And, Pima is a place that recently got taken over a couple years ago. And that place has been turning around and shaping into something a little bit better. Beulah MX is in Ashtabula. I guess it was a place that closed down a long time ago and now is coming back. And then kind of same thing with Maple Shade has been a place that's been around the whole time, but they haven't done, especially for quads, they haven't really done much.
Involved.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it'd be cool to do another series like that, especially if it's two tracks that are very quad friendly and involved with quads, period.
That's what you need.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really looking forward to I want to go to that Mansfield race they're doing.
I just saw it. I just had to drive down that way last weekend and picked up a quad from a guy, and he's like, have you seen that place? I'm like, yeah, like I've seen a lot of stuff on social media. I know they're having a race. It's 5 miles from here. I know where I'm driving by on my way home. So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't see much of the actual speedway, but I got to, like, dude's like, you got to turn on this road. You drive right by the track. That track looks sick.
Does it really?
It looks so badass. So
I will definitely have to be trying to make sure I get out. Gonna have
to.
But outside of just local stuff, I don't know, just anywhere I can kind of step in and try and help. Is kind of what I.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like I feel like ATV racing needs to expand. Where it needs to expand right now is in locals. We need locals in most places. Ohio has always had something, and PA's always had something. Michigan obviously has D14, Minnesota has D23, but like even those could be better. Everywhere else needs something.
I almost think that D14 is like a model of how local racing should go.
D14's killing it.
Their numbers are
D6
crazy.
is doing really good, like I said. And I mean, it's Ohio is, we had OMA that's no longer around anymore. Like now it's okay. Hopefully the COMX does well with it. Hopefully Outlaw Series does well with it. And hopefully more things pop up or these current series grow even more.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something to build on, kind of thing.
But then with your own racing, like, is there anywhere you've pretty much been kind of content on the C classes for the most part that I've seen?
For whatever reason, I just have never been able to build speed.
Okay.
Or it feels like whenever I do build speed, it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh man, everyone else is also much better than they were. But
does it, like, do you feel like you have like a strong competitive drive, or are you literally just there to, kind of party? Not in like the actual party sense, but like you're just out there having fun.
Yes, I would say like I'm fairly competitive.
Okay.
A lot of the times, like the only times I'd ever get to ride were when I would go to the nationals. So like
Your
the only
racing was your
times,
seat time.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I can, and then like my truck when I blew that crank up,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to go anywhere.
Right.
And then her dad's Josh started, hey, like you want to go to Briarcliff or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
like let's go.
Yeah.
So I was able to start getting a little bit more seat time in, and I noticed like there was definitely a big change, and it's like, oh man, like this is actually much more enjoyable when I can like actually practice and like kind of ride here and there and whatnot. But I don't know, I would say I'm pretty competitive, but it's just like a matter of having the ability to be there and like prepare myself in order to do something properly.
Yeah.
But
No, I get it.
I'd like to go out to like a different race just to try something different. Like I want to do a GNCC at one point.
I was gonna say, do you want to try a different discipline, or do you just want to try racing like a moto type?
I would like to do a GNCC at one point. I would like to. I think a works race would be really cool to do once. Mm-hmm. There's a series Gage was telling me about out in like Colorado, Midwest, but they do like a works type series that
I was just
races,
learning about that one. Mm-hmm.
They race at Thunder Valley.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go, do that just to race it, just to set tires on Thunder Valley because it's Thunder Valley.
I wish we could go to Thunder Valley. I wish that our series would put in the work to try to get us there, because that would be a really cool facility and it would get us more further. And obviously I know a lot of people like to complain that, we need to quit driving or all and blah, 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 but we're the national series. We're not the East Coast series. Mm-hmm. Let's travel a little further west. Let's go to Colorado. What kind of new riders could we attract if we went a little further into the country?
Right. Like, because I think it was Sunset last year, there was all kinds of people that were from the Works series.
Yeah,
in
there
Washington.
was a crew of Works people that came over, and
the guy actually that runs a lot of the Quad Cross Northwest stuff. Mm-hmm. Turns out he lives like 10 minutes from where I grew up.
I was gonna say it probably had to be somewhere near you.
It was like right around the same area.
Yeah,
like, oh, that's crazy.
Right.
But, there's definitely like populations and pockets of it. Yeah. It's just a matter of finding.
Well, look what happens when we go to, say, Budds Creek. There's a lot of what was any ATV riders that would come down. There's a lot of Quad Cross New England people that would come over. You would attract new riders, and Budds Creek and Pleasure Valley are usually pretty big numbers for us, just because we're getting closer to attract other riders from different series.
Yeah, like I'll see stuff from, it's not any ATV, it might be New England Quad Cross
probably,
maybe. But they go to I think Englishtown maybe, and then Southwick and some of these like really sandy like Massachusetts type track, and it's like, all right, like we know that there's a good population of racing up there. Like why can't we go? Like the fact that this is the first year we're going back to Michigan in however many years is crazy.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's just finding where these little pockets of racing are, and then like getting around out by them, at whatever facility can do it. Yeah. And I think you'd be pretty surprised, like especially all these Works people that are now AMA members.
Right. Yeah. Works is now an AMA sanctioned series. So
if you have a round that's close enough to a lot of these like really heavy Works people, be like, all right, well, let's go try throw the little tires on there. Let's go see what happens.
Well, I mean, their machines are built differently too. So it would definitely be a big change of pace for a lot of those riders. But I mean, look at Max Lindquist. He's one of our, top 5 pros and has been going over to Works and finishing very well in their pro class as well. Like, and you look at most GNCC racers. A lot of them can ride a motocross track and they do pretty well. I think we need more crossover stuff. We need to cross over with even the TT guys more. Our series used to be 8 moto and TT together every round.
Bring both series kind of together, kind of boost numbers almost.
Right. Right. Like what would happen if we started working more with some of these different disciplines? And I'm not saying like we have to all of a sudden the Moto series is now a cross country motocross and TT series, but like especially in the grassroots side of things, if you have the space to have multiple tracks or courses, like, hey, we're doing this, just race weekend where Saturday we're going to do moto, Sunday we're going to do cross country or whatever. We're going to do a little bit of TT, a little bit of motocross. What could happen?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of benefit to doing like being exposed to a lot of different styles of racing.
Yeah.
But I think what a big part of what we're missing is, they talk about like the biggest benefit to doing a GNCC race is you can go there and when you're racing and when you're leaving. So
you show up that morning, you race and then you go home. Right. It's a 1-day deal.
So like I think it'd be awesome to be able to kind of condense our racing almost like into like a one day format, whether you're doing youth on Saturday or youth on Sunday and then youth vet on Sunday or something, and then all the other classes on Saturday with the pros or something. But making it to where like if you're only able to be there for 2 days max, you can still go and race, and you know what I mean, and you're not
right. And like I said, I think the grassroots things needs to grow first to get everyone involved, and then if you want to get serious and you might want to do something that's maybe more than a day or two, then that's where the national numbers can grow. But we need to grow it right off the bat on giving somebody that's going to go buy a new YFZ or a KO 300 or even a TRX 90, whatever. Hey, you buy this, there's this series you can go and race if you want to race. You don't have to buy a dirt bike to ride somewhere.
Right.
But, well, I mean, is there anything else that you want to see going forward with the ATV racing world?
I don't know. I'd like to see people like not harping so much on the way certain places prep their track.
Okay.
It kind of drives me up a wall a little bit. Like when we went to Lake Sugar Tree, there was a good chunk of people that like weren't happy with their prep.
Right.
Like,
Everybody, it seemed like a lot of people hated that track, but then they loved Tomahawk.
Right. Like them complaining about how the track is prepped.
Yeah.
It feels a lot like, hey, well, this isn't like the tracks that I like riding at home.
Exactly. Like, this isn't catered for me.
Okay, well, if you just want to ride a bunch of tracks that ride like the track at home, like go race the local series all the time. Here?
Yeah, go back home.
Lake Sugar Tree was, it sucked for me. Like I hated. Like I was not doing great.
I didn't race there in 2025, but when I raced there in 2020, like I had nothing wrong with that track.
Or like when they rip it really really deep in the morning and it's like super wet, and then you have certain guys go out there and maybe not put great race lines on there.
Right.
It's like, the track's not going to be awesome, but maybe instead of complaining about it, why don't you go out in the morning practice when it's still a little wet out and try to put the lines in that you want.
Right.
But I don't know. Yeah. Just like kind of accepting track prep based on where you're at and just dealing with it instead of being like, hey, this isn't developing into blue groove. Like, why do I have ruts here when it's hard pack?
Yeah.
All right. Well, figure it out.
Right. Yeah. It is. Yeah. I don't know. We'll kind of leave it at that. There seems to be a lot of complaining, period.
I think it's okay. It's okay to ride something different.
Right. And if you're an actual great rider, you're going to be able to ride different stuff.
Yeah.
You got to be able to adapt to things.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. When it's different, it makes it take longer before like there's like there's a definite race line here, or like when you do have like those, like Sugar Tree had like really long kind of ruts in the corner, but it was all the way across the corner. It was it was cool because it was like you had like really spot where you were going instead of just, well, this whole corner is blown out now, I can just kind of dive in wherever I need to and protect my line. It's like, all right, well, I need to pick a line, and if it's not a good one, then you're
right. You just made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mistakes happen in racing. Doesn't matter who you are.
Right. I don't know. I think it's more fun that way. But.
Yeah. Anything else that you'd want to see change?
I mean, outside of that kind of being able to condense the format into different like I said, like having the youth and like maybe the vets race on Sundays with Pro-Am when the track's typically not as beat up, and then having, college, whatever, 25 plus racing on, Saturday with the pros when it's typically a little bit more beat up, and then maybe getting away from somehow finding a way to get rid of like the Friday practice and like kind of make the Friday practice.
So you're rolling in Friday evening instead of Thursday.
Right. Like make the practice session in the morning like worth something. You know what I mean? Like there's a random gate pick. Like,
well, and if it's your only form of practice, well then that's when you have to go out and practice.
Right. And it's like, if you throw you have to have a transponder on, and it's like it turned it into like essentially like a time.
Everyone's qualifying.
Right. And then you can do it to where it's like, hey, production or 450C and open C, like you're going out and like we're just going to use that time for both classes, or college, or if you're out there for college and A, you know what I mean? It'd be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting how to figure that out, but it
would definitely take a bigger brain than mine to figure out how the scheduling would work, but it would be cool if it was able to get done, and then be like, hey, all right, cool, like, I'm gonna stay here, watch Pro-Am or whatever, and then bounce out and go home.
And I mean, somebody that's as curious and always looking to absorb knowledge and always looking at things, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Pro-Am versus production rules? Or not Pro-Am, sorry, hybrid versus production rules?
I don't know.
Or do you even have a take on it?
I would say my opinion's probably not the popular one, because I definitely think that when you have your budget is limited to a production machine, right? Like I don't care what anyone else says. Like people, it's cheaper to, you just sell the thing. It's all right, but you're still going to have all kinds of money wrapped up into it before you can start selling stuff back off in order to kind of get money back.
Right.
Like it is a crazy expensive deal in order to go build a hybrid.
Yeah.
I think that it's just, you do feel like there's there is a big advantage having a hybrid. You have a different gear ratio in there. It's going to pull longer. It's going to pull harder than a production machine that, has a decent amount of work in it. You know what I mean? Go look at like a picture from a start from, 25 plus or college weight, where you do have a lot of these production and hybrids in there. It's like you'll see guys that are really good starters on production machines be out there, but that hybrid's going to be a good bike length or two ahead.
Possibly, yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's like really the only spot where I feel like there's a huge advantage. But other than that, like I think it gives you so much of a benefit on the start. It makes it really hard to like have it be fair racing all the way across. You know what I mean? Just because they do have essentially a head start.
Okay. But Jimmy, I've taken up plenty of your time now, and there are a few more questions I do want to ask though. And the first one would be, I especially since you're a bit of a newer rider yourself, being into this level, if you're at the track or you're anywhere and you're meeting up with a new rider, what is some advice that you have to give to them?
I mean, don't be afraid to ask questions. You know what I mean? Like if you go on, whether you're on a Facebook group or, you see people at the track that, look like they know what they're doing, you might get a smart ass response every now and then, but for the most part, like,
I think if you're in person, the Facebook group thing is kind of real tricky.
Yes.
But if it's in person, most of the time you're going to get a straight answer.
Like it's just kind of not being afraid to like kind of ask questions, you know what I mean? Like developing like that group of people you feel comfortable asking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're going to get a pretty solid answer out of is a big one. And then just kind of knowing, like go talk to people. You know what I mean? Like if you see yourself or, myself, anyone, like, hey, what's up? I'm struggling with this. And a lot of times they'll be like, okay, well, this is actually a pretty simple fix.
Right. What have you done? Here, maybe try this.
Right.
What's actually going on? There's a lot of different ways to skin a cat when it comes down to things.
Yeah.
But
like we were at Briarcliff, and it was JJ was there and McDaniel was there. And Perkins was there.
Yep.
And you generally after every single session, like I would kind of be struggling with something, And before I even had a chance to ask, a lot of times you'd hear like I was struggling with,
Yeah.
and then it would be the same thing too.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's not just me.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, no, just don't be afraid to introduce yourself. Like ask questions, like talk to people, be friendly. Like no one's gonna turn you away.
Right. Right. Meet connections.
Right.
Get out there. Yeah. Perfect. No, I think it's pretty good. Where can we find you on the internet, social media, and all that good stuff?
Good question. It's Jimmy D something. If I can get my thing to work real quick, I apologize. Jimmy D the 3 on Instagram, and then TikTok is
I think it's something similar, isn't it?
Jimmy D _53.
Perfect. And I'll have that stuff
Yeah.
linked down below too, so people can just scroll down and click too instead of trying to search. But before we go, real quick, is there anyone else that you want to give a shout out to?
38 Motorsports, Keaton Sturck, like that whole crew over there has been super, super awesome to me since I've kind of started. Gage, the whole BB family over at B Squared, they've been super awesome to me. Like, I mean, it's really like a second family, you know?
Yeah.
Josh Edwards and the whole Edwards family, you know, my girlfriend, they've all been super supportive since kind of, you know, being with them.
Yeah.
That's been pretty awesome to kind of have like a more close support system just because, you know, a lot of my, you know, my parents are on different parts of the country, right?
So, yeah.
And then, you know, Doug Schultz, he's super awesome to be like kind of working with. Like he's not going to try and steer you in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? Like
Doug's a straight shooter for sure. I mean,
takes me forever to drop shocks off.
Yeah.
But
Doug Schultz Motorsports. I mean, he's granted I've had a long relationship with him as well, but I mean, he's always there. Like I said, he still tries to steer me into, you know, advice and stuff like that. He's been around this for a long time. He knows what he's doing, especially when it comes to suspension stuff.
Yeah, like if I walk in there, like one of the last times I went in there, they do a Good Guys hot rod show in Columbus, and I had a whole list of things I needed to get done at the house.
Yeah,
and I walk in there and he's like, "All right, cool, like." Hey man, you want to go to a swap meet?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea. I'd probably get beat senseless if I instead of doing what I need to get done at the house. I was like, I went, you know, looking for old stuff that I don't need, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a good guy to be working with. He understands kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Just being able to communicate with him is really nice.
Yeah. No, he's good shit.
I mean, you've been pretty awesome since kind of meeting you at. I don't even know where it was, but you know.
Yeah, I don't remember which race it was.
Yeah, just you know, anyone that I have a pretty regular conversation with at the racetrack or wherever, it's I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like having familiar faces you can stop, whether it's just you know, giving someone some shit every now and then, or you know, stopping and asking questions like, hey, like I'm struggling with this. Like,
well, you're pretty easy to get along with too, so it's not a struggle for you to go up to somebody and talk to them and then, oh, hey, like here's a new contact.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the whole like this year, like the Hubert family would like kind of go over to you know, Gage's trailer and whatnot, because typically if I'm at the races, like because I don't have a trailer, I'm at their trailer.
Yeah.
And, so you know, like kind of getting to know them makes it really easy. So
for sure,
it's nice being able to like kind of talk to just about anyone I can, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy, obviously, for having a really awesome track, like super close to where I'm at, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, Briarcliff is definitely worth the 2-hour drive from here too.
Yeah, it's even more like when it's a 45-minute drive, you're like, man, all right.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go stop at McDonald's in the morning and run up there. But, other than that, though, like no one off. I don't really have like a ton of like genuine like support. You know what I mean?
You got friends that with places, you know, companies or hookups or whatever, and
just have connections. But
yeah, no, for sure.
So if anyone wants to help me out.
Well, I mean, I think if you keep working on your social media and stuff like that, who knows, it might happen. You know, because I don't think that is where a lot of the key where people are looking and looking for you. If you are out there and you're really branching out there and getting your stuff seen on social media, that's going to be a lot more attractive to sponsors. It's simple.
Yeah, it's just having that engagement.
It's all networking. That's why it's called like social media or social networking. Like you're networking, and that's how you get contacts. That's how you do anything. The racing, in a way, needs to be treated like a business if you're serious about it. So, yeah, I think who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yep, I'm just hoping for decent year. Don't want to get hurt. Yeah. Have a couple of decent finishes.
Yeah, just go out there and have some fun.
Exactly.
Perfect. Well, Jimmy, I want to thank you for coming over here and recording with me today and kind of telling your story. I know you've said a lot of bits and pieces over the years, and now it's just kind of
all kind of falls into place.
Yeah, make everyone.
What is going on with this guy?
So, but yeah, it was good. It was a good chat. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, and hopefully everyone that's listening or watching this right now also agrees that you're good to listen to anyways, and nice to know your story. And hopefully there's some people that are now knowing who you are and
might stop and say what's up.
Yeah, might stop and talk to you at the race and staging, whatever. So, but yeah, thank you everybody that tuned into this and, like I said, is listening or watching. And obviously there's links to Jimmy's social media if you do want to connect with him down in the show notes. And obviously there's the links to all the Four Wheel Frenzy stuff down there too. So make sure you are following or subscribing to Four Wheel Frenzy on all the platforms. But this has been another episode, and Four Wheel Frenzy has been brought to you by Spendin' Money Motorsports and, of course, the viewers like you. So thank you again, Jimmy, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you.